Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up weekdays. Catch us live, somebody, let's go.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in great spirits, because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. Let's not get that twisted, y'all. Okay? Another day above the doggone earth is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. Dagnabbit. Can I get an amen in the chat? Or at least, you know, if you're not like God-fearing, can I get like a number 1 in the chat? Or some fire emojis in the chat? Okay? If living large, living alive, being alive, and feeling this life that is surrounding us, it just be fire. Okay, so if you agree, put some A1 amens, some ones, A1 sauces. Put some amen, some ones, or some fire emojis in the chat if you agree with me. Okay, holla at you if you hear me. Okay, all right. We got some things we got to get into. Okay, this ain't church. Okay, it ain't Sunday. All right, it's almost Friday. Woo! Thank God. I am so happy that Friday's coming up. I don't understand. I can't explain to you how excited I am about it being Friday. Tomorrow. It's not today, dagnabbit. I get it, but still, I'm very hype about it. Okay, life is good. Life is dope. We should all be very happy about how dope it is, even when the times are tough, even when it's challenging times. You always come out of it. You always come out on the other end of it doing just fine, doing just okay. So hit that number 1 in the mother-loving chat. Put that amen or those fire emojis or those heart emojis, it don't matter, in the chat. Okay? Let's be real. All right? And you're right. You're right, Angela. Okay, Angela. You're right. It don't need to be a Sunday to share the love and feel good about living life. Okay? So, let's get into this conversation. So do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Crush the do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all them mugs, okay? So hit that follow button on those platforms, okay? Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button here on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe, okay? Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. That's also very, 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 very important, okay? Hit that subscribe button on my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell on both platforms so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because honestly, it is random. It's whenever I can get in this mug, all right? At least this month. It's a little crazy this month. I'm gonna be real, it's a little crazy this month. So hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. Hit that join button down below. Become a member, please and thank you. If you want to support the channel even more, check out my Patreon. Go over there, check out that Patreon, and of course, check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com, we got some really great stuff over there, so go check it out, PascalMerch.com. Okay, guys, we have got to get into some things, because there's a few things that I There's a few things I didn't get a chance to talk to you guys about that we need to wrap up with yesterday. There's some talks about what happened with this Hantavirus. We still have some updates. It sounds like more people are still getting infected. So we got that we got to talk about. All right. We got the sentencing that we didn't get to see the last part of. I told you guys I would show you guys that. So we are going to be looking at that. So it's a multi-realm show. OK, we got the Hantavirus stuff going on. OK, yeah, like the monkey and Outbreak. OK, we just watch an Outbreak in real time all over again. OK, like Contagion all over again. All right. But of course, we still have some David conversations we need to get into. There's also a piece of trash, mother-loving, worthless piece of human flesh on planet Earth Okay, interesting story that just happened recently that we need to talk about. This racist piece of trash that we definitely need to talk about. Okay, we can't not talk about that because karma's a mother lover. You know what I'm saying? Karma's great. It's the F around and find out type of situation, if you ask me. You know? So we got to talk about that too. So there's a lot that we got to talk about, okay? Got a lot of things. We got this Corey Richards thing that we needed to take a look at, all right? We didn't get to finish it yesterday, but I'm going to be real. You didn't miss much as far as what she was talking about. Because let's be real. All the stuff that she was talking about was just a bunch of horseshnish anyway. It was all a bunch of horseshnish. It's all trash. She, you know what I'm saying? She trash. She's sitting there going like reading a book, literally reading a book. She was up there for a good long time doing her final statement as she quickly was given the you gone for good. So I want to share this. I want you guys to see. We don't need to see the speech. Yeah, it was like 45 minutes, man. We don't need to hear any of that crap. Literally, it's like she was reading a book. And a lot of it was towards her kids, which is also trash, in my personal opinion. What we were really waiting for was this moment right about here, okay? Hopefully I have it perfectly cued. We'll find out. I may have to roll it back a little bit, but we can't not see the moment where the judge goes in and basically gives her life without the possibility of parole. Let's take a look at this. And please hit the number 1 in the chat if you guys can hear the actual audio from this video, because something was glitching. That's why I had to reboot everything, restart everything all over again. But we definitely need to hear this. So let me know if you guys hear the video. Hit the number 1 in the chat if you guys can hear it.
Eric Richards' 3 sons is more difficult to predict.
Hold on.
Because
like I said,
you were told, remember our
cool, you guys can hear this bet. We don't need to hear her crap. We don't need to hear her crap. But we're here for this moment right here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, a fair reminder. While inside the courtroom, everyone involved in this process must be treated with respect. We cannot have any outward reactions inside the courtroom. If any of you feel overcome with emotion, frustration, anger, whatever,
and I got my ginger, and I got my ginger tea
to look down,
ready to go.
Keep your hands folded in your lap. The court has considered the following information: the evidence, information, arguments, and recommendations provided by counsel on the record today, the victim impact statements and other statements made on the record today regarding the appropriate sentence, and a pre-sentence investigation report as corrected on the record today, including the numerous statements attached to it. In addition, the court has considered each of the factors set forth in Utah Code 76-3-201 subsection 2B and has prioritized those factors as required by section 201-2C. Having considered the gravity and circumstances of the offenses for which Ms. Richards has been convicted, the number of victims, and available information regarding the history, character, and rehabilitative needs of the defendant, the court hereby orders that the sentences on counts 2 through 5 shall run consecutively to each other and to the sentence imposed on count 1. Moreover, the court exercises its discretion and chooses to impose no fines related to any sentence in this case. The court addresses the 5 counts on which Ms. Richards was convicted in reverse order. Ms. Richards, based on your conviction on count 5, third-degree felony forgery, the court hereby sentences you to an indeterminate prison term not to exceed 5 years.
All right. And
based on your conviction on count 4, second-degree felony insurance fraud, the court hereby sentences you to an indeterminate prison term of not less than 1 and not more than 15 years. Based on your conviction on count 3, second-degree felony insurance fraud, the court hereby sentences you to an indeterminate prison term of not less than 1 and not more than 15 years. Based on your conviction on count 2, first-degree felony attempted aggravated murder, the court hereby sentences you to an indeterminate prison term of not less than 5 years, and that may be for life. Which brings us to the final issue, the appropriate sentence for count 1. Under Utah Code 76-3-207.7, there are only 2 options. An indeterminate prison term of not less than 25 years, and that may be for life, or life in prison without parole. And the law requires that the court consider each option. Under a sentence of 25 to life, and considering the effect of the 4 consecutive sentences, the time that Ms. Richens has spent in custody, and the current practices of the Board of Pardons and Parole, Ms. Richens would likely serve approximately 30 years in the Utah State Prison before receiving her first parole hearing. By that time, she would be 66 years old. Under a sentence of life in prison without parole, Ms. Richens would be in prison for the rest of her natural life, unless the Board of Pardons and Parole determines by clear and convincing evidence at some future point that she is permanently incapable of being a threat to the safety of society, at which time the board would have the authority to release her. Under either scenario, Ms. Richens will be incapacitated, meaning structurally prevented from harming anyone outside the Utah State prison system for at least the next 3 decades, and perhaps much longer. But the potential impact on the survivors of the tragedy created by Corey Richens, most importantly, Eric Richens' 3 sons, is more difficult to predict. On one hand, if the court sentences Ms. Richens to life without parole, one or more of those young men may come to resent that the court eliminated any opportunity they might have in the future, decades into the future, to express an opinion as adults with substantial life experience about whether their mother should, for example, be allowed to die with dignity. On the other hand, if the court sentences Ms. Richens to 25 to life, one or more of those young men may spend the next 30 years questioning why the court failed to protect them from the prospect of the person who murdered their father being released from prison at some time in the distant future, perhaps when they have families and children of their own. The court's contemplation of how those young men may come to feel about today's decision some 30 years from now comes from a place of genuine concern for them and humility regarding the court's inability to predict the future. Sitting here today, it is simply not possible for anyone, not even those young men, to know how their view of this case may evolve over the next several decades. My hope is that every person affected by Eric Richens' death will, over time, find their way to a state of peace. As for today, the court's duty is to make a decision, a weighty, long-lasting decision based on the best information available today. And the bottom line is this.
What, Judge?
Corey Richens was convicted unanimously and beyond a reasonable doubt of attempting to murder Eric Richens, her husband, and the father of their 3 children. And then, having failed in her first effort of spending the next 17 days not changing course, but doubling down, preparing to try again, and ultimately completing the act through the administration of poison. And for what? Money. All for pecuniary gain. A person convicted of committing that sequence of acts in that way and for that reason, and who causes the absolute tragedy that has befallen Eric Richens' sons and family. A person convicted of those things is simply too dangerous to ever be free.
Bam.
Accordingly, Ms. Richens, based on your conviction on count 1, first-degree felony aggravated murder, the court hereby sentences you to life without parole. You have the right to an appeal. You must file a notice of appeal within 30 days. You have the right to be represented by counsel on appeal.
Gang, gang.
Mr. Bloodworth, anything
Bye.
further?
Bye, girl.
Ms. Lewis, Ms. Nestor.
Bye, girl.
Your Honor, we anticipate filing a motion for a new trial and would like a date set. We have a substantial record in this case. We will file a notice of appeal of the conviction and the sentence and ask that everything be stayed pending the motion for a new trial as we're entitled to do under Rule 4B. Excuse me, but we think we need sufficient time to file a motion for a new trial based on the substantial record that exists in this case, longer than the typical 14 days, because this is not only the trial itself, but the years of litigation and motion practice that preceded the trial. We were hoping that we could get an agreed deadline of 90 days to file a motion for new trial, mainly because for half of June I'm out of the country and for half of July Ms. Lewis is out of the country. Normally we would ask for 60, but there's going to be a month in there where both of us aren't available. So we're asking for 90 days.
All right, Mr. Bloodworth.
You
Your
don't.
Honor, the state objects. The rule provides for 14 days. You can't imagine this is a decision that was made today. I think council's had the last 53 days to prepare the motion, 14 days pursuant to the rule. I appreciate that it's a lengthy record in this case, but the issues available for the trial are fairly narrow. The state recommends the 14-day time period as provided by the law.
There is one other thing, Your Honor, on that as to why we need the extra time. So we have asked the county to retain an expert to assist to do a declaration attached to our motion for new trial, and it's going to require us to go before a separate entity to decide whether that funding is approved, and that just takes time. So that's another issue we need.
Yeah, Jane, I agree. There's no way she could win. Ever.
I feel like there's more that I need to know in order to make this decision. And so I can also appreciate why a defendant is concerned about the 14-day deadline so they do not lose that opportunity. Sitting here today with very little information and the state having very little opportunity to respond to this idea, I'll extend your deadline to 28 days, but within that time, if you want to file a motion to extend it, Ms. Nestor, with more detail, you have 14 days to file that motion.
Now, to ask for clarification, so the court...
14 days from now, they have an opportunity, they have a deadline to file a motion to extend the 28-day deadline. If they don't, it's 28 days.
Gotcha.
I acknowledge that that 28-day deadline may cause practical difficulties for the state's team, and if I need to extend the state's response deadline, I will certainly give that fair consideration.
Understood.
Ms. Nestor, Ms. Lewis, anything else today?
No, sir.
Ms. Richens, you are hereby committed to the Utah State Prison.
Bye,
you are
girl.
mandated to the custody of the Department of Corrections. This court is in recess. Please follow the deputy's instructions. We're off the record.
Bye, girl. So yeah, done and done. And here's the thing: don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. It is very typical. It's very much on par for them to be for her to try to appeal and try to maybe see if she can run it back and see if she can get a lesser sentence or something of that sort. You know, situations like this are very few and far between. Rare moments happen. Like, it's very, like, let me just say this. Very rare things happen of the likes that we've seen with this whole Alec Murdaugh situation. Very rare do we see situations like that where they go, okay, yeah, let's run it back. Let's run it back. That situation with Alec Murdaugh, Maggie, Paw, that situation, ain't never seen like something like that before in my damn life. All right. Very strange. Very strange indeed what we're seeing with the Alec Murdaugh case. Now, I have to say this really quick. First off, bye, girl. Bye-bye. Bye, Corey. Bye, Corey. Bye. Okay, enjoy that toilet wine. Okay, enjoy that orange is the new black. All right, enjoy yourself while you go over there. Enjoy yourself. But let's talk about Alec Murdaugh for just a little bit, okay? Some doesn't feel right, y'all. Hold on. He's not on the docket today, okay? No, he is not on the docket of discussion today. But we are going to bring it up because I feel compelled to talk about this for a hot minute. Before we go into the D4vd stuff, I know everybody, filing in for the D4vd stuff. We are going to talk about that. But we got to talk about this because there's something about this Alec Murdaugh case that's really kind of irking me a little bit.
Conversating, laughing, eating with others.
Come on, shut up. So I want to pull this up really quick because there's something about this that just doesn't seem right. Something about his muggly ass face and the fact that he's getting a whole new trial and all those convictions, the conviction that he got where he was convicted of taking the life of his wife and his son, Maggie and Paul, okay? Maggie, Paw, okay? Something smells fishy. Something smells very, very fishy. Now, let me just play this really quick. Just a little recap, because I know some of y'all may not know about this Alec Murdaugh case, but this was massive. But I also truly believe that this has a lot to do with his influence. He was able to do a lot back in the day when he was a high-powered lawyer in his small town. I think there's some influence here. Now, I could be wrong. I could be absolutely wrong. But something about this smells off. The water stink. The milk stank. Something ain't right. So let's take a look at this really quick.
Next guest had a rare insider view of the Murdaugh double murder trial. Perhaps a front row seat to these allegations facing Rebecca Hill. Amy Williams. She served as a juror on the sensational 6-week-long trial. She writes about the experience in her book.
How fitting that a juror already wrote a book. Ain't that crazy? Now, let me just make this abundantly clear, okay? Amy Williams was juror 364. Juror 364, if I'm reading that correctly. It's weird on the screen. It's kind of small. But anyway, long road to justice. She was the juror for this trial. High profile case, high profile trial, etc. Right? He was found guilty, y'all. Now, when she just mentioned Becky, let's talk about Miss Becky for a hot minute. Becky was the like the courtroom clerk or something like that. If I forgot the title, okay, the job title that she had. But they're saying that she was out there manipulating the jury pool, messing with the jury throughout the entire time. Now we're going to hear something else. We're hearing another juror say, she didn't mess with me. I don't know what they all talking about. But she was also this Miss Becky, okay, who was a court clerk, yes, also had plans on writing a whole book. She was writing notes extensive notes, etc. And from all that information that we heard back in the day, this became a huge deal. How that unearthed and how they were able to expose that, I do not know. But one thing is for sure, that jury walked into that courtroom, came to a verdict, and said that this man, Alec Murdaugh, did the unthinkable to his wife and his kid. They had smoking gun evidence, literally and metaphorically speaking. And then all of a sudden, as soon as he was found guilty and he's sitting there sobbing like a little B word, suddenly out of nowhere, Miss Becky's name comes out of nowhere. Oh, it's Miss Becky who did this. She's the one who manipulated the jury pool, so on and so forth. Seems odd if you ask me. While she's getting an opportunity to write a book, and she's turning to people in the jury going, oh, get ready. Your names are going to be in the lights. This is going to be huge. Your names are going to be a part of the trial of the century, so on and so forth. And all because of the things that she was allegedly saying to jurors during breaks and whatnot. They said, we got to throw this whole thing out the window and do this whole thing all over again. Ain't that weird? Don't you find that a little odd? Don't you find? Because I feel like at the end of the day, these jurors were able to go into the deliberation room and talk about this, mull over all the evidence, mull over all the arguments and both sides of the narrative, the prosecution's narrative and the defense narrative. And they came out unanimously saying that this man did the damn thing. But damn freaking Becky comes out of nowhere and mucks all of this up. You don't find that a little weird? I do. I find it a little weird. Now I've always been side-eyeing Mr. Alec Murdaugh. I've always been side-eyeing that mother lover. But now, this woman with her Karen haircut throws everything sideways. Like I said, I've never heard anything like this before in my life. Okay? Me personally, I've never heard a situation like this where they got to throw it all the way out, guys. We got to do it all over again because the court clerk had something to do with it. I've never heard of that in my entire existence. Okay? JLK, what's up? Call me crazy, but I believe Murdaugh buried the guns in the grave with his daddy or destroyed them. I think it's either or, right? I think that there's a lot of people with their theories with what he did with the weapons. He could have just thrown them out in the middle of the woods. You never know. Anything's possible at this point. There's so much death surrounding his family. It's ridiculous. From that boat accident, to that boy, I forgot the kid's name, who was, I think he was gay, like an out gay kid in high school. That there was allegations of him having Stephen Smith having relations with Alex Murdaugh's oldest son. You see what I'm saying? There's so many different, he passed away. There's so much going on, okay, revolving around this family. There's a lot of Murdaugh with the Murdaughs, okay? Let's be real. All right. Oh, yes. And the maid. I forgot about the maid. Yeah. Trey. I know you're like, huh? What y'all talking about? I don't know nothing about this Murdaugh, murders, whatever. Trust me, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. I mean, obviously, they're going to be going back to trial. So we may have to do like a whole breakdown in the future. Whenever they come up with whenever they're going to be doing this trial. We're probably going to have to go and do like kind of like a refresher because it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy, Trey. Fam, if you don't know this story, all y'all, if you don't know this case, looks like we're about to learn about this case all over again. And it plays like a thriller soap opera. I'm not kidding. You can't make it up. So we may have to do a recap. Enrique, buenos dias, Enrique. So we may have to do it. But we're going to have, they're going to be going through it all over again. And they may not have Alec Murdaugh on the stand this time, because last time he pretty much shot himself in the foot with his whole snot bubbles and in the tears and the Maggie and Paw, that whole BS situation, right? So again, like I said, this is a wild case, and I feel like she got paid. I'm saying it. I don't give a damn. I think she got paid off. That's what I think. I think Miss Becky went in there and threw a wrench in the whole freaking machinery for the sake of him getting another chance, another shot at this trial.
The long road to justice, unraveling Alex Murdaugh's tangled web. Amy Williams joins me on the phone now. Amy, I'm sure it's been a stressful day. Thanks so much for joining tonight.
Hi, thank you for having me. It has been very stressful, yes.
You sat on the jury that convicted Murdaugh without a reasonable doubt. That conviction now overturned. I want to start with your reaction. What went through your mind?
I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it. It's incredible.
I am curious about Becky Hill. How often did jurors interact with her?
I don't remember her being, they made it sound like she was in there all the time, but it wasn't that way. I didn't see her all the time, so I'm just not understanding any of this that's happening or that has happened.
So you don't remember any comments about Murdaugh that may have seemed inappropriate or unusual, at least at that time? I know hindsight is always 20/20.
Right. And because I did not feel that she was pushing an agenda or, I didn't feel uncomfortable in any way. I didn't see whether she was doing anything inappropriate on my end from what I saw. And it definitely.
Hold on. Shanna, I don't know what that means. Hey, that is the book I wrote with a juror. You wrote that book with the juror? I'm confused. Please clarify. All right, let's continue on.
Definitely did not influence my decision at all, anything that she said.
You said you were very surprised about overturning Murdaugh's case. Tell me why.
Because the evidence was just overwhelming against him, and I understand their decision is because of the comments they say she may not have made, but 11 of us have declared that we made this decision by our own free will. We took an oath, and we did it by the evidence and the witness testimony as instructed.
I have no doubt it was a long 6 weeks in your life. Looking back, do you remember her possibly talking to other jurors? I know you said she didn't really talk to you. You guys didn't deal with each other. But did you see her conversating, laughing, eating with other jurors?
Oh, no, definitely not laughing and eating with other jurors. And even though we were in separate rooms, because I wasn't in the main room with all the other jurors, a few of us were in another room, I don't remember her having any personal conversations at all, no.
Let me just say this really quick. Why would it, if it's faux pas for a court clerk to be schmoozing with the jury, then why was she in the mother-loving room in the first place? Any court clerk. If it's a situation where it could compromise their verdict, it could compromise the trial itself. This is jury tampering if that was to happen, so on and so forth. Then why the F was she in the room in the first place? You realize that is just causing room for an error to be unearthed, and then bang, it throws out suddenly the conviction in the 6 weeks of hard work and hard decision making that this juror had to sit through and do suddenly goes out the window. There's 6 weeks wasted. 6 weeks obsolete. You see what I'm saying? And now I get it. She oversees. It's her job to oversee the jury. But if it's a situation where she's sitting down eating, breaking bread with them and stuff like that, and maybe that's not what she's supposed to be doing, then why is she doing that in the first place? Why wasn't there somebody who's overseeing the court clerk that's overseeing the jury? You see what I'm saying? Who's the higher up above her? Who's watching the watchman? You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't make sense. You got her going in there, breaking bread, chopping it up, going, oh, this is going to be this is the case of the century, saying certain things that she should not be saying at all why was she in the room in the first place? If that was the case, why wasn't she caught and excused from the job? Said, hey, bye, you got to go. Why wasn't she fired when it was time to be fired? You see what I'm saying? Because again, taxpayer dollar, a lot of effort, a lot of effort and time were put into this entire trial, and now it's obsolete. Now they're back at ground zero. And don't get me wrong, this man is going to be in prison for the rest of his natural life just on the financial crimes that he has committed. But at the same time, he should be in prison and should be locked up for the rest of his natural life for what he did to his wife and his kid. And now all that, they're doing it all over again. You see what I'm saying? So again, this is just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous, you know? But let's continue.
So looking back, it doesn't seem like you think she tainted the jury at all.
She came to the jury, but not as much as they made it sound like, people are making it sound like she slept outside the door or something. Half of the time she wasn't even there. One time she was out with COVID. She was out of the state at one point. So I'm not really sure why it seems like it was so much.
You just said you think she may have tainted the jury a bit. What do you mean by that?
I didn't say that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I may have
that.
misheard. My apologies. I misheard Amy. So is it possible that both things could be true, that Murdaugh is guilty, but he possibly didn't receive a fair trial?
I mean, it could be true, but I just feel like he did get a fair trial because we said, as we were polled and during the jury tampering trial, that we came to this verdict by the witness testimony and the evidence, and I stand by it.
You said you're shocked. You also sound disappointed.
I am. I'm very disappointed because he's guilty.
Without, again, how the jury made the decision last time, without any reasonable doubt, you believe, with all the evidence that was presented to you, that Murdaugh was guilty?
Yes, I believe it.
All right. What would you like to happen next here, Amy, with this case?
I mean, my heart goes out to everyone, to Maggie's family and everyone, all the witnesses and everyone that's going to have to go through this again. I mean, there's no way that this can be a quick trial again. So what is a good outcome would be for him to be found guilty again, yes. But what is it going to take to do that? And who's going to have to suffer and how much more are they going to have to suffer?
Yeah, it seems a lot more questions remain tonight for this decision.
This is so ridiculous, okay? Like I said, you have all that time that was dedicated to getting this man a proper and fair trial. And now all those people that spent all that time sitting through all this crap, listening to this guy's lies, listening to his defense and trying to push a different narrative out there that wasn't the truth really at all. Now they got to go and sit through all that crap all over again. All over again. And what's even more insane is that they can get an opportunity to right all the wrongs that they made in the first trial. You see what I'm saying? They can sit there and tighten up the issues, tighten up the mistakes, etc. They can tighten up their arguments. Oh, we're definitely not bringing these people in as witnesses anymore. Let's get rid of these people. Oh, I remember these people, as witnesses. They may bring those witnesses on, but now we have the proper right questions we can ask for this specific, for these specific witnesses that are going to testify, so on and so forth. Like I said, it is just all over again, giving the bad guy a do-over. You understand? He gets to run it back. It's like when you get to the final boss on a video game, and you know what I mean, you finally get there, but then you die, and then it's like, dang, okay, I gotta keep hitting the jaw, every time, or I gotta stand in the corner, the bottom right hand corner of the video, and ABBA, up down. You see what I'm saying? Like, now they can get down a code so that they can go in and do what they need to do. And so there's a possibility that the dude could be found not guilty of doing what he did, what he was convicted of doing. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, it's like it's a no for me, dog. It's a no. But at the same time, I'm not courts. I'm not the courts. They're gonna run that when they want to. You know what I'm saying? It's just so dumb. It's just so dumb. But again, you know, maybe they're gonna, you know, try something different. Let me play a little bit of this too. This is a family friend and a financial victim of Alec Murdaugh. He speaks and he basically says that, and this is on Jesse Weber, he believes that this whole thing is an opportunity for his lawyers. You know, they found some sort of crack in the system. Let's take a look at this.
Fingers on the scales of justice, thereby denying Murdaugh his right to a fair trial by an impartial jury. You see, the problem was Hill was accused of making comments to the jury about Murdaugh's guilt, encouraging a quick verdict, discussing the case outside normal procedures, and seeking publicity for her book about the trial. And
making comments to the jury about his guilt, encouraging a quick verdict, discussing the case outside normal procedures. Why was she even in the room in the first place? How does she even have this mother-loving job in the first doggone place? You see what I'm saying? What in the heck is going on here, right? But let me move ahead and let's get to this interview right here.
Did everybody in the suit? What kind of animal are you? Crying.
Thanks. One of the people.
I want everybody to, the judge, I need you to know. I'm not crying because of what he stole from me. I'm crying for what he did to everybody in the suit. What kind of animal are you?
And Jordan Jinks joins me live right now. Thank you so much for taking the time. Your reaction, the murder conviction overturned. I wonder if this is a mix of emotions for you.
Absolutely.
Well, how do you feel? Because on one hand, I imagine you're disappointed, but also, are you nervous that you might have to relive this all over again?
Not necessarily, and I won't even say that I'm disappointed. I kind of felt when I started hearing the rumors of jury tampering and such, I kind of felt as savvy as Mr. Harpoonian and Alex are, they were going to find the cracks. Running water misses no holes.
So let me ask you about that, because, you know, I will tell you, I'm not surprised that this happened, given what Hill was accused of doing. And I say this all the time, especially in the cases where the evidence is really strong against the defendant. My legal opinion, it was strong against Alec Murdaugh. You got to make sure, no matter what, every defendant is granted every right, gets a fair trial, because this is what could happen. So to those who say it's necessary that he gets a retrial, I don't care what he was accused of doing, I don't care that he was convicted, he deserves a retrial, you say?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
Everybody in this country deserves a fair trial.
Do you think it's possible that this retrial, he's going to get a fair trial? Everybody, so many people know about this case, and so many people saw that he was found guilty, and a lot of people think he's guilty.
If there was a way for you to change the venue anywhere in this country, it's going to be hard to get a fair trial because there's so much publicity on the case.
That's true. That's true. Do you think he'll be convicted again?
That's hard to say. If I had a law degree, I probably could answer that question better.
Well, look, the one thing that might be different is the state Supreme Court that made this decision, they said that too much of the financial crime evidence came in. They think it should be limited. I mean, do you, if you have to have a role in this case, or you're going to testify in this case, how do you feel about that?
Eliminate no parts of the financial crimes. It needs to be heard, and every part of it needs to be presented for trial.
Do you still talk to Alec's family? I mean, the Murdaugh name, I understand, does it still carry weight in the area, or is that influence, that power is it all gone?
Well, I mean, the so-called power that's a legacy. It's a generational legacy of attorneys, lawyers, solicitors in that family. And as far as carrying weight, that name will forever carry weight.
Do you talk to anybody from the family?
I do. I just had a conversation with Mr. John Paul, younger brother.
And I'm not going to ask.
Weeks ago.
I'm not going to ask you what the contents of that conversation were, unless you want to share it. I guess when I look at this, is I wonder, do you say to yourself, I still can't believe my friend, the guy that I knew, did all this? Like, you know, he stole this money. He was found guilty of murdering his family. You heard him take the stand. It'll be a question if he takes the stand again. I mean, look, didn't do so great the first time. Do you look at this and say, I can't believe he did this? Maybe he changed. I mean, what do you think about when you look at him?
First of all, I want to say, as arrogant as I know Alex to be, I wasn't surprised that he took the stand. I would have never took the stand. But I don't know. It's hard for me to say.
Dear Lord, I'm sorry. Look at the replay of him sitting there in the, sitting there on the stand, doing his testimony. His whole body is turned towards the jury. So showing all of him, crying and whatnot to the jury. It's so performative. But this should show you, this should shed a little light on what kind of person Alec Murdaugh was or is, because he's still alive. He won't do it again. Angela, he definitely will not take the stand ever again, because he literally sunk his own battleship when he took the stand. It was the biggest, probably the worst thing he could have done. But it's going to be very, very hard, like they said earlier, and I agree. It's going to be very, very hard for him to go to any city in any state and try to run it back again in another courtroom, because everyone knows about this case for the most part. It's going to be very hard. I mean, the only person that doesn't know is Trey. You know what I'm saying? Trey don't know. He's like, what? What happened? Who this? Yeah. Trey, you'd be a great candidate, but now you know. Now you know the case. You already know the case. But it's going to be very hard because there's a lot of people that know about this case. So how are they going to run it back and run it back successfully? You see what I'm saying? But let him finish.
I'm going to hold that thought.
Let me ask you this. Nice. Let's say he's right. Let's say he's sitting next to me right now. You're talking to him one-on-one. If you had a chance to say anything to him right now at this point in time, what would you say to Alec Murdaugh?
Where's my money? I don't know.
Number one question is why? There was a lot of people that you hurt. You stole money from. You stole life-changing money from a lot of people. But me talking about me personally, I would have done anything in this world for you, sir. I don't understand what would make you steal from me and forge my name.
I mean, clearly it's called substances, baby. It's called substances. He had a lot of substances. If you saw the photos of him, he was a lot bigger back in the day. And of course, the stress and all that, being in jail and whatnot, is making him lose a lot of weight. But he was also on crazy substances, y'all. He was on them pills. Yeah, he had a very serious habit. And so he was making some really dumb choices financially and making some really dumb moves that were obviously getting him in a lot of trouble legally. And that's just financial crimes we're talking about. Then you look at the situation where he goes out into the shed, pulls out his weapon, and takes the life of his son and his wife. For what reason? We still don't really know why. I mean, I don't know. Like, personally, I've never heard, like, what was the reason, what was the story behind the reason why he did what he did, you know, in that shed. Because I'm sorry, just because they dropped a conviction and he's going to rerun his trial all over again does not mean that he wasn't found guilty before. So in my mind, he did that ish. Okay? He did that. He is a convicted, still in my mind, a convicted killer. That's what I think. Now I know that they dropped the conviction and he's going to do it all over again, but at the same time, he did that. But why did he do it? Was it solely because of money? Was it because of his addictions were so hard or so bad? And of course, his kids were, you know, he had Paw, all right, was kind of like a little bit of a problem child. He was a little wild child. He had a lot of issues back in the day, the whole boat accident, etc. You know, he was the wild child. So what are the chances of him, the dad, Alex being like, yo, I can't hold this down anymore. I can't hold water with the likes of this kid. This kid is drowning me in debt, so on and so forth, which he was already drowning himself in debt because of his addictions and because of bad business moves, so on and so forth, right? But then outside of that, it's like you went out of your way to take their lives. Why? Right? So again, you know, it does make you wonder what's really going on here, and why was it that his wife, the mother of his children, and one of his children were killed in this situation? It's so weird. It's so strange, so weird. It's absolutely shocking and terrifying and extremely frustrating. But we got to get into the D4vd stuff, okay? Time for D4vd. All right. Now, as you guys already know, there's been, you know, people are still kind of talking about a various amount of different things. Now, one thing is for sure. There is a moment that I talked about just the other day that now is starting to it's now starting to make its rounds even more now. People are really starting to dive into it. And some of those people are the likes of Nancy Grace, okay? Once Nancy Grace gets her hands on something, it's definitely something to look into and start asking questions. Now, something that she mentioned, there's something that she's saying in here that I'm like, wait a second, is that what they're saying? Is there a confession being made in this video or no? That's something I want to know. Because to me, I don't know what it says. Now, what I'm alluding to is, let's just see if I can find it right about here. Don't worry, we're going to be listening to a good portion of this Nancy Grace episode, but I'm putting it here so you guys can remember. I pulled this up just a few days ago, not this Nancy Grace episode, but this actual clip that they talk about where she's talking, the other Celeste is talking to D4vd and Neo in another room whilst these two are live streaming, putting on body glitter and stickers. I guess they're getting ready for some sort of 4th of July party or something of that sort, right? They're putting one of the girl off camera is putting on the USA stickers on her neck, and they're putting on stars and stuff. You know what I mean? They're getting all patriotic and getting all glittered. All right. And while these girls are putting these things on, yeah, body glitter from Claire's. Real talk. Hey, man, you know, hey, that's why Claire's is great, because it's like, you know, if it breaks, no big deal. It's really cheap. You're wearing it one time. You know, it's one time, and if you lose it, so be it. It was only $5, right? So they're putting on these things, and in the background, there's a conversation where you see it right there in the subtitles. Allegedly, the other Celeste is saying, yeah, you killed her. Huh? Is she saying that in jest? Is she saying that because she is acknowledging, like, I know what's going on and I know exactly where she is? Here's the other thing too. And Mimi, thank you so much for the super sticker. But here's the other thing too. And definitely hit the like, guys. Don't forget to hit the like. But here's the thing. It's interesting that she would sit there, that they would talk. The audacity, if it's true, the audacity of these kids grown-ass people, by the way, but the audacity of them to have this conversation, this cryptic, disturbing discussion just feet away from these two girls that may not even know what the hell is going on. Remember, this is the same live stream where they're sitting down, they're putting on putting on stuff, they're putting on their makeup, they're getting ready. And David D4vd walks up and says, hey y'all, sorry for the smell in this bathroom. I took a dookie. I just took an ish just about 2 hours ago. This is the same room. So it's not like these two know what's going on. But this other Celeste and Neo could possibly have been having a conversation talking about the demise of Celeste Rivas, which is crazy, if you ask me. So we got to take a look at this. We got to get into some of this, Nancy Grace conversation. Shout out to Nancy Grace. She always keeping it real. Always keeping it real. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if, and we reacted to that clip just a few days ago, right? I pulled it out. I put that clip on the Pascal Show clips page, and I literally sat there and I said, "What do you hear?" Because what I hear may not have been her, Celeste, the other Celeste, saying, "Yeah, you killed Celeste." It could be so many different things. You see what I'm saying? There's so many different things that could be interpreted. We just don't know what's being said, and that's the sad part about the situation. Does Neo know? Does the other Celeste know? Did they help him in dismembering Celeste Rivas? I mean, I still been thinking in my mind, he did this all on his own. He did this all on his lonesome. But there's still a possibility that he got help. Here's the other thing too. Let me just point this out. Angela just said her eyeballs scare me a little. I want to talk about Celeste's eyeball. What in his mind? What was going on in his mind that would make him go, I'm taking her two left pinky and ring finger, and then I'm also going to take her left eye. Now, I get it that it's from the MPD Psycho manga anime, but think about that for a second. He really just went in and just, you know what I mean? Right out. Word, Monet. Oh my God, Monet from downtown. That's crazy. So he does wear that shirt quite a bit. He was even wearing that shirt in that live stream where he's like, I'm sorry, y'all, I took a dookie, blah, 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 blah. Pascal, remember when him and Celeste were sitting in front of the laptop, he was wearing a t-shirt that says, I love hot moms. Wonder if he was, subliminally saying that she was pregnant. You never know. You never know. You never know. That would be wild, dog. That'd be wild. And Angela, I know you were talking about Nancy's eyes. I was just saying, when you talked about the eyeballs, that made me think about Celeste's eyeballs and the fact that one of her eyeballs is missing. She's got two fingers missing on her left hand and her left eyeball is missing. Why? Right? And it's like, did he really do all that himself? Could he have done this with somebody else? I still think he rocked by himself, but what would make anyone nonchalantly just say out loud like, oh yeah, let's just talk about, taking the life of somebody. Let's just openly and, nonchalantly talk about the murder of a 14-year-old girl. I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me. Does it make sense to you? Right there within earshot of those two girls that are sitting there. It's not like they had music blasting in the background, by the way. Mind you, there was no music blasting in the background. It's not like, You know, they're playing the D4vd's like whole album, I Don't Care. And they're sitting there, you know, talking about this whole thing like, so you killed her? That's not happening. No music is playing in the background. So would they really openly talk about the death of a person that was done at the hands of the likes of a monster like D4vd? With a live stream going on just feet away in the bathroom? Now you right, Trey. We ain't killers. You know what I mean? You know, I kill this show every day. You feel me though? You know what I'm saying? So I am a killer. All right. Don't you forget that, man. But still though, I get we can't speak on that part. But something about this seems a little weird, right? Right? I digress. Let's take a look. Let's take a listen. Listen to some Nancy Grace. And I'm going to speed it up, okay, guys, because there's a lot to cover and not a whole lot of time to cover it.
A magazine. Taylor Parise, thank you for being with us. Tell me what happened in court. Is it true David Anthony Burke, D4vd, winked at people in court?
Yeah, Nancy, thank you for having me. He was very casual. As he walked out, his defense said something to him. He smiled and he winked as he was taken out of the courtroom.
Okay.
That's weird. Why would you wink at anybody? Okay, Itami. Okay, Itami. I see you, Itami. That's Itami, man. Okay. Wait. Be Bellat. Okay. So we use the soft A when it comes to like, you know, like killing the mic, and we use the hard R when it comes to unalive. Oh, I see you. Okay. But this kind of hard R, we're allowed to say the hard R. All of us are allowed to use a hard R on this one. You feel me? Okay. When it comes to killer, no other word are you allowed to use the hard R. If you get what I'm saying. Moving on though, because we all here for love. Okay, we all pink in the middle. Okay, let's move on. I don't know what that came from. That sounded kind of gross. Yeah, that was gross. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it to be like that. Okay. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? We all bleed red. How about that? Can we do, because that, yeah.
Hey, right there. My teeth are on edge. Who was he winking at, Taylor Parise?
Yeah, so he was winking at his defense team. Blair Burke was specifically who was speaking to him.
Taylor Parise, was D4vd, David Anthony Burke's family, in court?
I did not see them in courtroom, no.
Interesting. How did he look? What was he wearing?
He was wearing his orange jumpsuit as he has been. Last time he was clean shaven. Today we saw the beard was growing in a bit, but he was very casual. He had his arms on the armrest. He was leaning forward. Yeah, he was very comfortable, it seemed like.
Very comfortable. Good to know. You stated he was smiling and winking at his lawyer. Taylor Parise, was he shackled? Was he handcuffed at the wrist, the feet, the waist?
Yes, every time he's been in the courtroom, he has been shackled in all of those places. He's brought in by an officer and he's taken out by an officer.
Does he look like he's lost weight, or does he still have a good appetite?
Seems like he still has a good appetite. He looks very young, very different now that he doesn't have the beard that he had originally came in the courtroom with. You would not know that he was in court for murder.
Don't move. With us, Taylor Parise, investigative reporter with Los Angeles Magazine. Dr. Bethany Marshall is joining us, and boy, do I need a shrink, possibly a drink and a shrink. But Dr. Bethany Marshall, renowned psychoanalyst out of this jurisdiction, LA, star of a new podcast, On the Couch with Dr. Bethany.
You see what she did there? She just dropped bars, okay? She said, I need a shrink, but I need a drink, but I'll still take that shrink too. Bars. Just saying, you know? We talking about Nancy Grace, baby. She ain't nothing to mess with, baby. Okay, she knows what she doing. Nancy Grace be Nancy Grace. You feel me? She is sad. She Nancy Grace. She an OG. Come on now.
Author of Deal Breaker. You can see her now on Bravo and Peacock and find her at drbethanymarshall.com. Dr. Bethany Marshall, he's smiling, winking, very at ease. He has altered his appearance to make him baby-faced. Thoughts?
Symptoms would be consistent with a personality disorder called antisocial or sociopathic personality disorder, where the person does not get anxious or become anxious at the thought of negative repercussions to their actions. And this would be consistent with what we've seen about him all along, having her hold up a Louis Vuitton purse, Celeste, so that her face is not seen. So kind of like hiding in plain sight, all of these criminal activities. And now he is smug. He feels like he's at the center of things and that nothing bad is going to happen to him.
He's probably thinking about how many records he's going to sell, how high his clicks are going to vault after he beats this murder charge. Back to Taylor Parise, joining us, investigative reporter, LA Magazine, at the hearing, outside the hearing. Taylor Parise, again, thank you for joining us tonight. Taylor, what was the purpose of the hearing? Because on all the dockets, it's reported as a preliminary hearing, but this is not a traditional preliminary hearing as we know it, such as when the state calls witnesses and brings on evidence sufficient to have the case formally charged and bound over for a felony trial. So what was it? Is it more, let's have a hearing to set up a hearing?
Yeah, exactly. They originally had the hearing set, the preliminary hearing set for May 26th. Today was a status hearing to find out if the defense was ready to move forward in court. They decided they were not. Both the prosecution and defense agreed to move the date. It's going to now be on June 29th with a status hearing like today on June 17th.
Taylor Parise, you're stating that the defense isn't ready to move forward and the state says it also is not ready to move forward, possibly because there are volumes and volumes of evidence easy to find if you're willing to go mining online. For example, watch this, Taylor.
It's kind of giving Harley Quinn. Okay. Aw, cute. I like it. And then, wait, we do this. Stickers. Stalkers. Oh. Doesn't know. Where's the body glitter? We gotta be USA now. Where's the body glitter from Claire's? Bro, body glitter from Claire's. Okay, clear glitter or okay, chat. I'm gonna show you guys my face makeup.
Just got more.
Hold on. Here it is. And I don't mean to like circle back to this over and over and over again. But the thing is that, obviously we watched it. We saw the whole thing. We took a look at it, but I'm going to play it again so that we can hear it again. But there's something, this is strange in my personal opinion. It's strange because again, it's like, is that what is being said in this video? Because a lot can be misconstrued. It's very hard to hear. There's a lot of the volume, like the sound is bouncing all over the place, right? And then you got them talking on top of in the front. You know what I mean? So again, it's like, are they really saying that? Are they really saying that? Let's play it again.
What's this, Taylor?
It's kind of giving Harley Quinn. Okay. Aw, cute. I like it. And then, wait, we do this. Stickers. Stalkers. Oh.
Hold on.
Doesn't know. Where's the body?
Hold on. Sorry.
Doesn't know.
What does she look like? I'm very close to her. I'm very close to her. And then the witness says, just give him a second. Which is Celeste, the other Celeste H, basically saying, hey, what did she look like? I'm very close to her. Witness, I'm assuming this is David saying that. Just give him a second, or maybe Neo is saying that. Just give him a second, right?
Where's the body glitter?
We gotta be USA out.
Where's the body glitter from Claire's?
Bro, body glitter from Claire's.
Sorry. It's just happening so darn fast.
Okay, clear glitter or
Okay, chat. I'm gonna show you guys my face makeup.
Hold on.
Claire's.
Bro, body.
You are his unintelligible, and you don't know what she looked like.
Glitter from Claire's.
Okay, clear glitter or
Okay, chat. I'm gonna show you guys my face makeup.
Okay, so before we go into the Nancy Grace, it's going so damn fast. So let me just roll back one more time so we can watch it one more time. Hold on. And I'm gonna slow it down. Yeah, you're right. I did pick up the speed. We'll put it in normal speed for a second, okay?
It's kind of giving Harley Quinn.
okay.
Aw, cute.
Yeah, you killed her. Yeah, me and David. So Neo is basically saying this? Word?
Like it. And then, wait, what is this? Stickers.
Stalkers. Oh.
And then, wait, what is this? Stickers.
Stalkers. Oh.
Who? They were all in that bathroom. Nobody look at me. You already crossed her, bro.
Doesn't know. Where's the body glitter?
We gotta be USA out.
Where's the body glitter from Claire's?
Bro, body glitter from Claire's.
Okay, clear glitter or
Okay, chat. I'm gonna show you guys my face.
So again, when they're like, yeah, you already crossed her, bro. Maybe they're basically saying like, maybe he's basically saying like, yeah, you've already, she's somewhere in the house. Basically. Like she's somewhere and you already crossed her, bro. Like you already passed by her. Maybe, I don't know. But is this a full-on admission of guilt? And why would someone of the likes of another Celeste that does have some resemblance of Celeste Rivas not be creeped the F out by someone saying, yeah, I unalived her? Wouldn't you be freaked the F out? Wait, word? What? And I look a lot like her? Wait, describe her. Does she look exactly like me? And then, Neo's like, oh, no, you know what I mean? It's like, you see what I'm saying? Some weird is going on here. Some weird is going on here, man. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're on substances, maybe. I don't know. But still, no matter what, having this kind of conversation with somebody when you are under the influence, I mean, I feel like, you know what I mean? I feel like at some point you're gonna be freaking out. But here's the other thing too. What if there's a possibility that they're just making some really dark humor going on? What if this is all in jest? But there is some truth. Obviously, there's some truths in it. What if they're saying, yeah, I killed her, right? Yeah, funny, right? And it's like, and then Neo or David's like, yeah, she looks a lot like you. It's crazy how much she looks like you. Something like that. Wait, she's close to me? Like I look a lot like her? What? Wait, really? What does she look like? Describe her. Could somebody describe to me what she looks like? You know what I mean? Maybe, But here's the thing. I just feel like somebody like Sakura, who is doing the live stream. She's the one in the all white and putting on the body glitter and all that, and the Claire's, she getting all that Claire's, she's bedazzling herself with Claire's jewelry. I feel like if she knew that they were having a conversation about the unaliving of a person, she probably would have ended that stream real fast and ran out the damn door. You know what I'm saying? She would have kicked rocks. This is what I think. I don't see any of these streamers just being cool with death and the possibility of just murking somebody. No, Neo, I'm still side-eyeing him, right? But all these other people, like the other Celeste, the girl in the red off to the side of the camera right here on the side of the screen, if they heard any of those things, they would kick rocks. They'd be practically running for the hills, calling 911 or something, right? So I don't know, but let's continue. Let's hear what Nancy Grace and her people have to say about this.
Judge Scott Morgan, maybe that is some of the evidence. I mean, if I can find it, the prosecutor can find it. Did you hear what was said? Now, it's in the background. You have to listen very carefully. I'm going to play for you the pertinent part. Listen.
It's kind of giving Harley Quinn.
Okay.
Aw, cute.
I like it. And then, wait, what is this?
You want to tell me those girls cannot hear what's being said through that open door, just on the other side of that very thin wall? And you see the one girl in front of the mirror pause and listen. What was just said by witness one, which is a female? I think I know who she is. The female says, "Tell me more about Celeste." Then you hear the woman say, "Yeah, you killed her." And then you hear witness two state, "Yeah, me and David." They're so casual. And the other girls are just talking about finding their body glitter. And I want you to listen to the long form one more time because a speaker is identified by name. Joe Scott Morgan, listen.
It's kind of giving Harley Quinn.
Okay.
Aw, cute.
I like it. And then, wait, what is this? Stickers?
Stalkers. Oh.
Doesn't know. Where's the body glitter?
We gotta be USA'd out.
Where's the body glitter from Claire's?
Bro, body glitter from Claire's is crazy.
Okay, clear glitter or
Okay, chat. I'm gonna show you guys my face makeup.
I feel sick. I feel sick because I believe the prosecutors will be able to show that is David Anthony Burke, D4vd's home, and in that home, Celeste was murdered. And they're all talking about body glitter, and they can hear what's being said. Joe Scott, analyze. You hear the female state, "Tell me more about Celeste." The woman, "Yeah, you killed her." And then someone says, "Yeah, me and David." And then, listen, you hear who? They're all in the bathroom. In other words, they can hear us, idiot. And the girl says, "Don't look at me." Then they go on, and the woman is...
Interesting. That's crazy. So again, where is the... Yeah, you're right. You're right. Oh, wow. Wow. Hold on. I'm gonna come back to 932. If I forget, just remind me, guys. 932. Hold on. She says she plays it again. Hold on.
Doesn't know. Where's the body glitter?
We gotta be USA.
Right there. Yo. So she could literally be saying, "Where's the body glitter?" because she's trying to talk over the conversation that's being said in the background, that maybe she's trying to cover up the conversation, and maybe the conversation, what she's hearing in the background, she's like, that's a weird conversation. We don't need to hear about murder on this live stream. Maybe that's what it is. It's like, whoa, they're talking weird stuff over there. She may not even know what's going on, but she's going, where's the body glitter? Yes. Oh, the body glitter from Claire's. You know what I mean? So maybe she's trying to cover it up because, you know, they're probably saying some stuff that may get her kicked off of her live stream, you know, because of X, Y, and Z. God only knows, right? But that is some wild stuff. JLK, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. This reminds me of the commercial way back when people run to a scary abandoned shed with chainsaws instead of getting into the running car to get away. No awareness whatsoever. Yeah, I've seen that commercial. I think that was like a Super Bowl commercial, right? It's like they're running and there's the dude, the chainsaw massacre type of guy walking down and they're like, oh, let's go into the barn filled with sharp objects, or you know, no, let's go into the blah blah. And it's like, then the smart person's like, yo, we should just take the Audi. Why? That's running. It's a car right there, already gassed up and running. We just need to jump in the car, and they all run into the shed with all the sharp objects. Yeah. So again, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, are they cornered right now? You know what I mean? Are they cornered? Is this girl? Are these two going like, oh snap? Or at least Sakura is like, damn, I gotta figure something out. I got to figure something out. I'm just going to talk over them because they're talking about killing somebody. This is weird. So let me just talk over it, you know, because she's too busy with her stream. Too many people are watching her stream. So that's more important than her own safety. It seems strange, don't you think? Seems strange, right? You know, we can go in the barn filled with all the axes and sharp objects. No, we can go into the cornfield where he's standing right in there. He can find us. Come on, man. Why are we using the damn Audi that's on? It's already a running car right now. Let's go take the Audi. Crazy. So, maybe that's what it is. 932 was the spot we was at. So let's get back to that. That is just insane. Imagine that. Speed it up a little bit. Let's rock and roll.
Woman is saying, well, what does she look like? Am I close to her? Talking about Celeste. What did Celeste look like? I'm very close to her. In other words, do I look like her? And you hear the other male say, give him a second. And the woman says, you don't know what she looked like? It's past tense. What she looked like. What?
Hold on. That's just insane. I didn't even think about that. The part where they're like, what? Wait. They're all in the bathroom. I didn't know what he was referring to, but now I'm getting it now. The way Nancy Grace just broke it down. Shout out to Nancy Grace. Come on. The way that she's breaking it down now, like that part makes sense, right? What does she look? What did she look like? Or she looked like me. She looked close to me, so on and so forth. That's some crazy things to hear. So maybe this is an admission of guilt. But you got two people in the bathroom that may not know anything about this. Real talk. I truly think that the two girls, I'm just going to be real, the two girls that are in that bathroom putting on body glitter, I don't think that they know anything that's going on. Real talk. But let's continue. But it's so strange. Because what about the girl in the red? The lady in red. What happened? What's up with her? She putting on USA and all that. She's not talking to she's not live streaming. She ain't live streaming. She's just sitting there putting on body glitter and stickers on her body. Like she's not talking, busy trying to read, comments on the screen while she's live streaming or anything. She's busy just trying to look cute for the event. So what the heck? She ain't hearing nothing. She's not sitting there going, that's weird. She's so focused on the mirror that she's not hearing what's going on behind her either. I find that weird too, but let's continue.
Are they that arrogant? They think I can't find that online, much less the prosecutors. I want you, Joe Scott Morgan. You're the death investigator. While they're all laughing and looking for their body glitter, where's Celeste?
Decomposing there at that residence. I can tell you what she looked like. I can tell you what she looked like relative to their current, their present at that moment in time.
Futz.
And yeah, they did use past tense, but let's understand her mortal remains are just on the other side of those walls, Nancy. Let that sink in.
And I also want to let that sink in that he did mention in that same stream, hey, yo, sorry about the smell. I took a dookie earlier. So I think that at least the two girls that were in the bathroom, the body glitter girls, did not know anything about this. That's what I think. Because you got to remember, let's think about this before we hear Joseph Scott Morgan, and I want to hear what he has to say, but think about this. If all of them were savvy to the situation and that Celeste is in a garage in the front trunk of his Tesla decaying and, giving off a stench that is just so putrid, right? He wouldn't have to say that on screen. Because the people who are watching the show, people who are watching the live stream, they can't smell what they smell. They're just watching. You see what I'm saying? They're just watching the show. They don't know what it smells like in there. So why would he have to say go out of his way to be like, hey, yo, hey, bro, hey, yo, twin, sorry about the smell. My bad about the smell, twin. Yeah, I took a dookie about 2 hours ago. He wouldn't have to say that at all. They would just marinate in that funk and they would keep it moving and not say a damn thing about it. So either half the room knew about Celeste decaying somewhere in the house, hence the reason the smell, or none of them knew and only D4vd knew. That's it. Half of them knew and the other half didn't, like the two girls that I think are just completely innocent. But you got Neo and maybe Celeste learned about it later. You see what I'm saying? Or they didn't know anything at all. Hence the reason why he said, my bad, y'all. I went dookie. I went number 2, dog. Sorry. I just used the bathroom about 2 hours ago. Hence the smell. And then the girl, Sakura, she goes, oh, hey, don't worry about it. I just used it a second ago. Okay, all right, twin. So if she didn't know, why would she say that? You see what I'm saying? I know it's gross. It's disturbing to say, but think about that for a second. There would be no reason, if they were all in on this situation, that he would not need to say that out loud because no one would know that room was smelling bad. So moving on.
And just for a second, she's in an advanced state of decomposition. She's been packaged. The child has been packaged after having been rendered down. She's in multiple elements, Nancy, and not all of them are solid. The ME actually talked about liquefaction of remains. That's what she looked like. And I think that people need to strap in and understand that it's not just the principal that's been named, that's been charged in this case. It's all the circle that surrounds this individual that is inside of that domicile. You're going to tell me that no one smelled anything? You're going to tell me that no one saw flies? That they're just going on about their business as if it's another day? It is absolutely positively disgusting, Nancy. Yeah, I can tell you what she looked like.
You mentioned once it's like they are dancing on her grave and her coffin, so to speak, from our friends at Fox 11 is David Anthony Burke, a.k.a. D4vd's Tesla. We just showed you the video of that aerial shot where her body had been discovered due to the stench of human decomposition. Dr. Bethany Marshall joining us, renowned psychoanalyst. Dr. Bethany, what is wrong with these people? They're like, they're in there. Don't let them hear what we're talking about. And you see the girl putting on makeup. Listen and pause. It's so arrogant. This little girl that he met at age 11 and started wooing her at age 11, still wearing Hello Kitty outfits. She's dead. And they're so flippant.
Yeah. The arrogance.
Hold on. Let me just say this. I don't think that they're okay, let me just say this. I'm not trying to defend anybody. Everybody's a suspect at this point. Okay, let me just keep that real. Okay, just before everybody like comes at me being like, oh, you know, how dare you? This, you know, this is a little girl. Absolutely, is a little girl. But those two girls may be completely oblivious of what's going on. I'm just being real. We can't automatically say that they're all just arrogant buttholes. We don't know. We don't know. And we're only getting snippets, slivers of conversation that could have been said in jest, that could have been said for real. But at the same time, I think that these girls definitely, naive techno ghoul. I think naivete is part of it. Absolutely, naivete is part of this mug, guys. I don't think it's only just like, oh yeah, you know, it definitely is. They were in on it. No, I don't think they were. Like I said, look at the conversation that they had. You know, I think it was later or maybe right before they moved that camera over to this by the sink so that they could put on the body glitter and all that stuff. He was like, "My bad about the smell, y'all." That's all in the same live stream, by the way, guys. Same live stream where he's talking about how you took a number 2. And then homegirl Sakura says, yeah, I did too. So no worries. You're probably smelling my ish right now. It's all good. I took a dookie in here too. You know? So arrogance, I don't know. Being naive? Yes. And not knowing what's going on because they're too busy doing that, entertaining their streamers or their, you know, their chatters, and they're busy trying to put on glitter or whatever, you know. But let's see what happens. I don't know if all of them are in on it. I'll just say that.
Did not start with her death, Nancy. It started way before, when she was 11 years old. All these people in this house saw him parading an 11-year-old in and out like she was his girlfriend. There were probably a lot of little Celestes coming in and out, and these young women putting on body glitter and behind and stars on their face. They saw a lot before they saw her death.
Yeah, I mean it is pretty nutty. I mean, you know, I'm not sitting here saying that what happened here is not real or not possible, that some of these people were not savvy to the situation. I'm not saying that at all. Okay. But what I am saying is that there is a possibility that some of them knew, but some of them didn't. That's it. And then, yeah, you know, Creep, I see what you're saying. This gives Sanquella Robinson vibes, them talking in the other room. I mean, it could be a situation where they're like, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get involved in this situation. But then they're suddenly hearing this information, but they don't want to say anything because then that's high profile and bad negative publicity going into their direction because they're all streamers to a certain extent. You see what I'm saying? So I get all that, the concern, right? But the right thing to do is call the mother-loving cops. Dag nabbit. Call 911. It's insane to me. Let's hear a little bit more from Joseph Scott Morgan. But again, like I said, it's just it's like, yo, if you hear something like that, you say something. You know, you turn over. What are you guys talking about? Wait. You said something about a dead girl. Wait, who dead? Are you serious? Y'all playing, right? Like, I'm just going to be like, hold up, guys, hold up. I don't care. Because that's crazy. You see what I'm saying? That's absolutely crazy. And, you know, she's putting on the stickers and stuff. And there was a little bit of a pause. And then she's like, body glitter. Oh, there's my body glitter from Claire's. You know what I mean? It seems a little bit strange. It does. It does seem a bit strange. Now, I've already said this a million times. I just think that this kiddo didn't stand a chance. It breaks my heart because, you know, it just breaks my heart. Like DJ Khaled. It breaks my heart. It just breaks my heart, y'all. Real talk. Whoops.
Bombshell tonight in the...
What? breaks my heart. Hold on. I got to bring that back. Where were we? Dag nabbit. There we go. So I want to hear a little bit from Joseph Scott Morgan here really quick. But what say you guys so far from what you're hearing and all that? What say you? Do you think we're on to something here? Do you think Nancy Grace is on to something? I think that she's on to something as far as what she heard in that bathroom. When I heard it, and when we were breaking it down the first time we heard it, I was like, I don't know if it's a conversation that's being taken out of context. We don't know if it's a joke, if they're saying that stuff in jest, because let's be real, Celeste I'm sure has been gone for a while. The other Celeste may have been like, where's she at? Where's that other Celeste? Where's other Celeste? Where's she at? I haven't seen her in a minute. Oh yeah, I killed her. You know what I mean? Ha 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 ha. But he's like, but in reality, he's like, but seriously, I did. You just see what I'm saying? Yeah, she gone. I unalived her. Oh, that's funny. Y'all look a lot alike. Really? I look a lot like her? Wait. Describe her really quick. I look a lot like her. Wait. How? How do I look a lot like her? Hold on, bro. Hold on. You see what I'm saying? So again, could have been something that was done in jest, but it could also have been something where they're like, yes, she's in the front trunk of his Tesla, rotting away. And yeah, she does look a lot like you. It's crazy how much she looks like you. But here's the other thing too. That would kind of go against what we heard about. There's been talks of Celeste H and Celeste Rivas crossing paths and meeting each other. So much that whenever the other one is in the room, Celeste H goes by, I think she goes by like a nickname instead of going by Celeste. So whenever she's in the same room as Celeste, since they have the same first name, Celeste H goes by a nickname. CC. Thank you. So that would totally go against the conversation of, oh, I look like her? How do I look a lot like her? You see what I'm saying? Describe her really quick. You see what I'm saying? Make that make sense. Why would she ask a question about that? How she looks a lot like her or is close to her as far as image and whatnot, if they've already known about each other and they've crossed paths in the past? See what I'm saying? We got to ask all these questions, okay? We got to ask all these questions, right? But let's continue. Oh, here's the other thing too. Please do me a favor, guys. Hit the like button down below. Crush it, okay? Can we get to 1K? Can we do that? Can we get it to 1K really, really quick? Get it to 1K, please. That would be really appreciated. And I also want to remind you guys, okay? I did a very impromptu D4vd skit that I posted yesterday. It's a YouTube short. Please check it out because there's a lot more of y'all here watching the show now. And here's the other favor I need to ask of you guys when it comes to that skit. Okay, it's on my Instagram, it's on YouTube, and it's on TikTok too, and it's on Facebook. If you have Facebook, please share the skit. If you have any chance to take the skit off of YouTube and share the link to other people that are following the thing, please do so, okay? And just for chuckles, just a laugh, okay? We're just having a laugh, okay? Real quick, all right? With the trial, all right? So check it out. Share it if you can. That would be greatly appreciated because I would love to get some of the views up. I hate to say it like that, but it's to be honest, I want to continue doing more of that kind of stuff, some more comedy and whatnot, and it'd be really great to get the train moving in that regard. So if you could just please share it, like, comment, etc., share the skit, that would really, really mean the world to me. Okay, but it's on Facebook. It's on YouTube, okay? Share it on those platforms if you can. Please and thank you. Because this is a community and family effort. All right? Because if it does well, then I will do more. Not of David. I mean, if something crazy happens in trial, I most likely will do a D4vd skit in the near future. But I'm just saying, share the love so we can do more skits, right? That would be awesome. Yeah, the trash bag. Everybody got weak off the trash bag. Everybody got weak off the trash bag. Yeah, you might be seeing that trash bag again in the near future. We'll see what happens with this D4vd crap, right? So yeah, if you can, share it, please, and thank you. So let us move on. No, I won't be doing an Erica Kirk anytime soon. Okay, nah, I don't think I'll be doing that. Okay, but there will be more skits soon enough. Okay, thank you, Monet. Thank you, I appreciate that. Thank you. Hey, I don't get to do it very often, but I like to have fun and do some skits. I'd love to do it daily. It's just tough to come up with stuff all the time, like that quickly. You know what I'm saying? So let us continue on. All right. Hit the like, please, and thank you. Hit the subscribe. The link to the skit is pinned to the chat over there. So go check it out if you can, please, and thank you. Share like it owes you money. Okay? Please and thank you.
And the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, he was working with the medical examiner's office with 10,000 plus death scenes under his belt. Why don't I know whether Celeste was pregnant or not?
Well, because the ME actually in their report stated that there was no evidence of pregnancy. And then they had to go back and amend it. And at which point in time they said it's undetermined, essentially, or indeterminate is what it comes down to. I can tell you this, according to the findings that they had at autopsy, they didn't show, and I'm talking about the physical findings, they didn't show any evidence that she was in fact pregnant. We cannot exclude, though, however, if she had a pregnancy that at some point in time had been terminated, at some point in time, either through, I don't know, morning after pill, or we're talking about some kind of terminal event where she goes and has a child aborted. So that's difficult to understand. And what even complicates matters even more, Nancy, is the fact that she is in such an advanced state of decomposition. This is a very difficult road to go down. We do know, however, that they didn't find anything that would indicate she was pregnant at the time.
Okay, let's recap what you just said, Joe Scott Morgan. Number one, the body was in extensive, advanced state of decomposition. Number one.
Yeah.
You said at first they said nothing was remarkable about her uterus.
Right.
Then they had to go back and amend that and state, we really can't tell if she's pregnant.
Yeah.
Is that
That's
correct?
crazy.
That is correct, ma'am.
Okay. Why did they have to go back and amend their own report?
I have no idea. And that's the big mystery here, because they don't do a follow-up, like a follow-up report from a pathology standpoint where they say, okay, this is physically demonstrative of why this is indeterminate now, where you have a descriptor of the organs and the tissues that we look at both with the unaided eye and also microscopically. That doesn't exist.
So bottom line, we can't tell. We've got the best friend's word for it. And Dave Mack, Crime Stories investigative reporter, we have what the prosecution lays out in their brief. And that is evidence of an abortion and evidence of the Plan B morning after pill.
Those text messages between Celeste and David Burke talk about the Plan B. They talk about pregnancy, and Nancy, they talk about threats on his career. Remember, the week Celeste Rivas was murdered was the first week David Anthony Burke's album Withered and the world tour were kicking off. And Celeste dropped that bomb on him because she was tired of him seeing other little girls.
Okay, now here's the question. The only people that are going to know this answer are going to be that of the prosecution. And of course, the defense, and of course, David, of course. But one of the main questions I have is, when did they find out? When was the conversation of her possibly being with child? When was that conversation? Was it right before she lost her life? Was it right, before they flew off to London? You see what I'm saying? So where was the moment that they realized, oh my damn, we have an oopsie situation going on here, right? When was the conversation when they were talking about the morning after pill? Possibly, the termination, etc. We got to be very careful about how we say these things. Unfortunately, the platforms that be, they don't like these kinds of words. but you get what I'm saying. When they found out that she could possibly have a bun in the oven, when was that conversation had? What's the timing? And is it because, could it be that she was with child when he actually did the deed? And that because she was deteriorating she's so badly deteriorated in that car that they couldn't tell whether or not she was with or without. That's something I'd love to have answered. They say police or prosecution says that there is evidence of conversations about her possibly being with child. And then other measures that they were talking about, which was termination and, of course, Plan B. Did she do something several months before she actually lost her life? Because the way that the conversations have been had online, like during Discord, etc., right? There's something that obviously has been going on, right? There were conversations in Discord about him being like, oh, my girl about to have a baby. Then there's conversations that she allegedly was saying that were, Discord members, Discord chatters, that a chatting account that was like deleted, that was basically saying, this is what they said. If I have a daughter, I hope it's a girl. Literally. Which I'm assuming is like, if I have this baby, I hope it's a girl. That's what I think it was. Like, it was the typo. But these are things that were being said in Discord chat rooms, which is also kind of insane if you really think about it. What's up with these Discord mods and them not picking up these conversations or catching this predator like in real time? Because apparently there was a lot of conversations that were being said or had in Discord where a lot of people were very savvy on the fact that he was in a romantic relationship with somebody he should not have been in a romantic relationship with. So this is some weird stuff, but I want to go over to Law and Crime, back to another Jesse Weber video. But there, he talks about some other things. Bombshell court decision rocks, this whole case. Let's take a look.
A gallon on your first tank of gas. Okay, we got a court hearing in the David case that happened today. We have a reporter, an investigative reporter in the courtroom. Going to bring her on in a minute to talk about what happened. Now remember where we're at. The 21-year-old romantic homicide singer, real name David Anthony Burke, David, is facing charges of first-degree murder, continuous sexual abuse of a child under 14, and unlawful mutilation of human remains, all in connection with the death of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, whose decomposed, dismembered body was found in a Tesla in LA back on September 8th of last year, a Tesla reportedly registered to David out in Texas, and prosecutors have also alleged special circumstances with respect to the murder charge. That's what gets you potentially life in prison without the possibility of parole. That's what potentially gets you the death penalty, even though there's a moratorium on executions in California.
Now, I have seen the finger video, which it's clearly a fake. Like, it's clearly a fake finger. I know a lot of people have been analyzing that as well, being like, could it be that he was using her actual finger in these videos and blah, blah, blah? No, it's not. It's not a real finger. But yes, I have seen the video. It is pretty diabolical in general, especially with everything that's just going on. If he could not look more guilty, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, can he even look even more guilty? Like, let's be real. Like, he just, man.
Murder of a witness, murder for financial gain, lying in wait. That he used a deadly and dangerous weapon, a sharp instrument. And the ME's office concluded that Celeste's cause of death was multiple penetrating injuries. Authorities alleging that David murdered Celeste to keep her quiet, that they were in an alleged illegal sexual relationship, her being a minor, that she was going to expose him, that she was going to ruin his career, a financially lucrative career. I did whole episodes on the potential evidence establishing where he was at in his career. They also talk about these alleged text messages the day before, the night before, where she was allegedly angry with him and going to expose him. And the allegation is that he murdered her to keep her quiet. And prosecutors claim that on April 23rd, 2025, he lured Celeste to this property in LA, Hollywood Hills, stabbed her repeatedly, watched her bleed out, and then proceeded to order supplies online to engage in the dismemberment of her body and the cover-up of this alleged crime. Chainsaws, body bag, laundry bags, inflatable pool. They claim a combination of forensic evidence, surveillance footage, cellular data, DNA evidence, witness testimony, all ties him to these alleged crimes. So what happened in court today? For that, let me bring on somebody who was in that courtroom today. Investigative reporter Julia Deng is with us. Julia, so good to see you. Thank you so much for coming on to talk about this. Really appreciate it. I'm made of questions. I know this was a relatively short hearing, but very impactful, very important. First of all, how did David look? Let's start there.
Not great, Jesse, as you can imagine. I mean, we've talked about how he actually requested a haircut last time. It doesn't look to me like he got that haircut. He walked in wearing this orange LA County jail uniform, kind of lighter than what I'm wearing right now. He had a white long-sleeved shirt underneath it. He did not look clean-shaven. Hair looked to be a little bit longer, very curly. But he was actively paying attention. You know, he was looking from attorney to attorney as they were speaking during this very brief status conference. And he did speak this morning. This was actually my first time hearing his voice live. It was brief. He just said, "Yes, Your Honor," when the judge addressed him. And it was a question about pushing back the upcoming dates in this case. So It is still, a question as to whether or not this is going to trial. And the big takeaway from this morning's status conference is that we are going to have to do this exercise all over again. So there's going to be another status conference June 17th. And then this preliminary hearing that we've been talking about May 26th. And as you've been reporting, Jesse, that was supposed to happen back in April. So now they've pushed that back again. That's going to be June 29th now. So David Burke was asked, are you okay with that? And he just said, "Yes, Your Honor," and that he was led back out.
Okay, so I have a number of questions about this. There are those who say they wouldn't be surprised that the preliminary hearing was pushed back yet again. I mean, even if you talk about what's been reported, 40 terabytes of evidence, computers, tablets, iCloud. Even in the prosecution's brief, they talk about surveillance footage and cellular data and witnesses and different trips and all these Amazon purchases. And it's a big case, and it's one that has been investigated for quite some time. At the same time, Julia, I'm trying to understand why this is happening, because, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the defense who's asking now to have a delay? Because weren't they the ones who said Blair Burke, his attorney, was pushing for a speedy preliminary hearing as soon as possible? And it was the idea, we're going to challenge the prosecution's evidence. We're going to challenge, because in a preliminary hearing, so everybody knows, right, the prosecution has to present, not their whole case, but sufficient evidence to establish probable cause, low standard, but say, hey, we got enough here to support these charges, to move forward towards trial. Preliminary hearing, why it's an advantage for the defense is because they can challenge that evidence. So they wanted the prosecution, hey, we want this a preliminary hearing immediately. We want to see what you got. We want to challenge it. We don't think you have a case here. We don't think he's the cause of Celeste's death. And now, and correct me if I'm wrong, are they the ones today in court saying we need a delay?
They are. That is correct. And Jesse, you're absolutely right. This boils down to evidence. So Beth Silverman with the prosecution, she laid out how there is just voluminous evidence here. It totals, at this point, more than 40 terabytes. I mean, if you think about how much content you probably had saved on your phone, I mean, that's not even close to 1 terabyte. They have 40 in this case. So Beth said this morning during this hearing, the prosecution started uploading their evidence last Thursday. And that's part of this case. They have to do that. Sharing that information between both sides, that's part of discovery. So Beth says the prosecution started that last Thursday. They have only uploaded, at this point, about 10 terabytes out of that 40. And then she went on to say, I actually wrote down this direct quote from Beth Silverman this morning, it could take them months to complete discovery with this much evidence. So now the defense is pushing back. This is very much part of their strategy. This is not surprising. You know, they would benefit from having more time just to prep their case. So they said, the defense, you know, we've requested DNA evidence. We have not gotten that yet. They also said they haven't gotten the witness narratives they were hoping for. So their argument is we need more intel to prep before this can even go to a preliminary hearing. But the prosecution, of course, also not surprising, they're pushing back as well. They're saying is this going to be a real thing? Is June 29th going to be, they called it a go date? Or are we going to have to go through this again? Push it back again? The judge was very stern about that. She said, we have to be clear. If we're setting the date for June 29th this time, if this is going to be pushed back again, a fourth time now, we have to get that motion in writing. Beth Silverman says this kind of thing can go on. She's, in her experience, had this kind of thing go back and forth and be delayed for years. The judge saying this morning, she promises this is not going to go on for years. So I think June 17th is going to be a sure thing for this new status conference, and then June 29th.
Well, here's what's tricky about it. It's prosecutors, seemingly, even though there was reports of multiple grand juries, and grand jury could be a way you get an official indictment. Defense doesn't have a role in it. It's a secret proceeding. You get an indictment, you move forward. If you don't go a grand jury route, and clearly there hasn't been a grand jury indictment, even though there have been reportedly grand juries impaneled to hear evidence in this case, now you have a preliminary hearing. And 100%, this is where it gets complicated because the defense has an opportunity to challenge the evidence. It can get pushed back and pushed back and pushed back and delayed. And just from a point of law, I'll tell everybody, that's a concern for the prosecution, right? They believe that David committed these alleged crimes. They want justice as soon as possible. They don't want to keep pushing this case along. Evidence can get stale. Witness testimony could be upended. So it's in their interest, too, to have this preliminary hearing sooner rather than later. And by the way, when you mention DNA evidence, you go back to the prosecution's brief. It says DNA evidence developed from blood stains collected from defendant's garage, which match the victim's genetic profile. So that was interesting. By the way, you mentioned witnesses. Do we have any idea, was it revealed today, any idea who these potential witnesses are?
We don't. That is one of those outstanding questions, and I think, Jesse, you actually did an entire podcast segment dedicated to this question. We don't, and it sounds like part of the defense's strategy to just stall here and buy themselves a little bit more time to prepare during this pretrial period is citing the fact that they don't have any kind of narrative relating to witnesses. They don't know who the possible witnesses might be who could be called for this case, and they don't have DNA evidence they say they've requested. But let me tell you what the prosecution did share. They say they have already shared lab reports, they have shared LAPD reports, and they've shared, again, about 10 terabytes of evidence. So if it really is 40 terabytes, that's about 25% here. And I don't know what kind of server they're uploading this to, but again, they started doing this last Thursday. So open-ended question here as to how much longer that's going to take. But talking to media crews out here, we've all been speculating, there's likely a lot of video content in that 40 terabyte dump. That's typically what takes up the most space. So we already know some of that video involving Celeste and David and their alleged relationship that will not be played for the jury if this eventually does go to trial.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because as we're understanding what this is, I remember in one of the initial hearings, the prosecution said they found a large volume of alleged child pornography on David's devices. Now, they didn't confirm that was 100% Celeste, but let's remember he is charged with a sex crime with respect to her. This alleged illegal sexual relationship is not only its own individual crime, but it goes to the murder charge. It goes to the special circumstances, because if they can prove he was having this relationship with her, didn't want it exposed, wanted to keep her quiet, she was threatening him, that goes into it. And of course, there's other digital data, there's cell phone data, there's surveillance footage. By the way, just taking a quick step back, since you're our eyes and ears there, was it a packed courtroom? Like, who else was there? Was there anybody in support of David? Was Nathan Hochman there, the Los Angeles County District Attorney? Who was in that courtroom today?
It was largely media this morning. We did look around in the hallway before we even got into the status conference to see if perhaps he had any supporters. I know last time, during his last court date, David did have at least 2 friends, 2 supporters with him. There was no family present this morning, nobody for either David or Celeste. I think it was just the defendant with his uncut hair, his orange jumpsuit, and then defense attorneys. So it was largely media in the back 2 rows in this courtroom, prosecution, defense, and it went by very quickly. They started within 5 minutes of 8:30, the scheduled start time, very clear on directions, no cameras, no cell phones, and it wrapped up within about 10 to 15 minutes.
And by the way, what was his interaction like with his defense attorneys? I saw a report, I think, could be wrong, but you'll correct me if I'm wrong. Did he wink at his defense attorney at one point? What was that interaction like?
This is a fascinating human, Jesse. If I ever have an opportunity to interview David, I've got questions for this man. He seemed incredibly comfortable sitting there. I think he was resting his elbows on the table at one point. I mentioned earlier he was listening actively to the back and forth between prosecution and defense. He was looking from attorney to attorney. At one point, I think I saw him nodding along. He made eye contact with the judge. He spoke once when he was asked if June 29th would be a go date, a good rescheduled preliminary hearing date for him. He just said, yes, Your Honor. He spoke clearly. He did not seem shaken. He did not seem like a defendant being charged with first-degree murder. And that's not it. I mean, we're calling this a murder case, but there are 2 additional charges on top of that, including continuous sexual abuse of a child under 14. And then it's not just murder, it's mutilation of that murder victim's corpse. And I know we haven't delved into this yet today because we don't yet know if the DA is going to ultimately pursue the death penalty, but that's an option in this case because of the special circumstances on top of that murder charge. And I believe, Jesse, in the state of California, you only need 1 special circumstance to be eligible for the death penalty. In this case, it's not 1, it's not 2, it is 3.
And look, there is a moratorium on executions in California, but that's even besides the point. I mean, this goes to this whole idea of if they decide to go that way, it would, prolong the trial, it would make it a little bit more complex. But you're talking about the ultimate punishment. Not surprising when you talk about this crime. Yes, he's innocent until proven guilty, 100%. But you were talking about the brutal slaying of a 14-year-old girl who was dismembered and also allegedly sexually abused. It's a really, really horrific crime. By the way, I have a couple of minutes with you, Juliet. You've been following this case, I believe, from the beginning. You've been following it for quite some time. As you're in that courtroom and you're listening carefully to the discussions that's happening between the attorneys and the judge, what is your biggest questions that you want answered right now? What are you looking out for in terms of the evidence? I mean, thank you for talking about the episode we did on the witnesses. I think that's a crucial discussion, whether or not it's going to be somebody like Neo Langston, or it's going to be David's family, or it's going to be the Riverside County Sheriff's deputies, or it's going to be the medical examiner or members of the medical examiner's department. I mean, you tell me what you're looking out for, what you're keeping an eye to and ear and an eye to as you're in court for these hearings.
Number 1 question, Jesse, is what you've been covering extensively. Who are the witnesses going to be? Yeah. What is their testimony going to entail?
I mean, if they're really going to be witnesses in general. I mean, obviously there are going to be witnesses of just them being, in audience of seeing their relationship, you know what I mean? But like, if there are also people who are witnesses to the actual murder or the dismemberment or the discarding of her remains, I mean, obviously we still need to find out if that's gonna happen, kind of thing. I mean, it's just, man, it's just so crazy. It's just so crazy to me. This whole thing's so crazy.
I think another big question is relating to some of the more definitive language we've seen in the charging documents. How do prosecutors know, for example, that David stood by and watched Celeste bleed out? My big question is, was there some kind of home surveillance video that captured this? I mean, that wouldn't be out of the question. Many people have cameras in their homes.
Or, like I asked before, did he film it? Could he have filmed it himself for some sort of, some sort of souvenir? Or maybe in his mind, he's like, maybe I'm going to use this content for the next album. You see what I'm saying? Possible.
David was also an individual who was very comfortable around cameras. I mean, he was constantly live streaming, snapping things, recording things. Could there be footage actually showing that act? And then I also want to point out, the wording of what defense attorneys have said. They're denying the charges. David has entered a not guilty plea on all of these counts. But they're saying that he was not the cause of her death. That raises the question, who was? Could there be somebody else involved? Could somebody else be charged? But
that's the question. Is there somebody else that could have been charged in the situation, right? That could have done something, that could have been a part of this. I think that's the ongoing burning question that a lot of us are wondering about. And again, something about this just irks my soul. Something about this just does not fully make it's hard to wrap your mind around this, right? Like 110%. And that is something that I am really concerned about, because there could be just these live streamers that are getting idolized, that are getting looked up to, that are absolutely getting all kinds of love, etc., from all their viewers and the people that support them all day long, only to find out that they're also people who are willing to do whatever it takes to stay stay relevant, to stay popular, to stay successful by not telling police, by not telling the truth. I think that's really messed up. I think that's really, really strange and wild and sad. But we've seen this in other situations. I mean, look at the Diddy trial. Look at the Diddy case. Look at that Diddy situation. Look at what we had to deal with. A whole bunch of people that were just too scared to say anything because a guy had, was dangling a career or success over their heads. You say something, I'm going to destroy your career. Or you're never going to work in this town ever again. You see what I'm saying? So there's a possibility of that too. I mean, he was he was one that was starting to make some serious strides outside of the streaming world. Let's just say that. That's something he definitely was doing. Aside from them just doing streams every day. And don't get me wrong, streaming is dope. We're streaming right now, right? I love it just as much as anybody else. But at the same time, it's a step up from, it's what he was about to do with this album dropping and all this music he was about to be doing with all these other big artists is definitely a step up from the streaming world. So of course, I can see a lot of people being like, yo, this is D4vd. Like, this is an opportunity to transcend, to get beyond this streaming world and become a household name. So I don't want to say anything that's going to destroy my career. It's possible. Or it's just, hey, I make good money streaming. I don't want to say anything that's going to tarnish my name and destroy the following and what I've been building this entire time. That's possible too. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But again, did he operate alone? Did he really operate alone? That's something I'm kind of curious about. Now, here's the thing. We haven't really talked. Speaking of live streamers, we have got to talk about this guy. This guy is an absolute piece of trash. Sorry for the left turn, but I got one last story to give you guys, okay? And this happened yesterday, and karma is a mother lover, all right? But this piece of trash, he goes by Chud the Builder or something like that. Anyway, he's a live streamer. He's known to walk around in Nashville and say all kinds of racist remarks to people on the streets, basically expecting them to just lose their minds. Like, he does it, he's rage baiting. That's all he's doing. He's trying to do, he is obviously trying to get clips. He's clip farming. He's trying to do everything he can to go viral off of black people getting angry at him for calling them the N-word or using certain words that he shouldn't be saying. Racist remarks that he shouldn't be saying to anyone. And he's live streaming this crap at the same doggone time. And here's the thing. You poke the sleeping bear enough, the bear's going to wake up. And I've seen this for some weird reason. If you open up X, a lot of people have been sharing his videos and stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to see this crap. But also you want to see the crap because you're like, wow, there's a really sad and messed up use of the live streams now. Back in the day, it'd be like, stupid people being, running pranks, so on and so forth, being dumb, right? But now you got racists going live and going to areas, running into people of color and just talking, going off, getting in their face, using the N-word, using the hard R, and all that, just so that he can get a clip or two to go viral so that he can get money. I don't know. But it's some really, really sad stuff, and it's a real thing. But here's the thing. Just a few days ago, he got arrested. And I know some of y'all are going to be like, yeah, that's what you get. He got arrested. He actually got arrested because he walked out on a bill, on a check from a restaurant. So he was back in that same area a few days later, and I guess of course, he's walking around with a selfie stick and he's live streaming. So of course, everyone's going to remember him when he walks out on a check, right? Walks out on a bill from a restaurant. So he's walking back down the street and he gets arrested for skipping out on a check, right? So he went into the courthouse just yesterday, late in the afternoon yesterday. And the ish hit the fan, to say the least. So this live streamer who's known for posting racist content faces attempted M charge after pulling out his pew-pew and blasting somebody at the courthouse. Now, this guy's an absolute idiot. So he's our idiot of the day. He's our dumbass of the day. Okay, let's just keep it a bean. Now, we're going to get to that, Emily. It's insane because it's insane. We live in a wild world. Let me just say that. We live in an absolutely insane world because, these live streamers, instead of them using these platforms for the good, now you got guys doing it on the dark side. Okay? Now you got guys doing it for content that is supported by other people who are hiding in plain sight, that are cheering these guys on. They're getting viewers. They're getting people who are watching their stuff. They're getting encouraged. Even the people who are just watching just to see what kind of racist crap he's going to say or what kind of, colorful language he's going to be using on people, or they're just waiting for him to get jumped at some point. That's why they watch his live streams. No matter what, it's encouraging him. It's helping him. You watching that live stream is helping him make more money, and gives him incentive to wake up every single day, get that phone charged, and pull out that selfie stick so he can keep on live streaming, saying terrible things every day. This is a person that I feel that should be canceled. This is a person that I feel that should be boycotted, in my personal opinion. Now, I know freedom of speech. He's allowed to say whatever the hell he wants. And sure, he could do what he wants on these platforms. But at the same time, I'm like, this is not the kind of content that is good. That's not it's not even thought-provoking, guys. It's not like he's sitting there putting out his opinion about certain things. No, he is walking up to people and calling them the N-word or other remarks just to get a rise out of them and start a potential fight. That, in my personal opinion, is not the kind of content that any streaming platform should be embracing or housing, in my personal opinion. It'd be a different story if he was just some, piece of trash and he's up there on a microphone just putting out his opinions. That's one thing. But this is a guy who's trying to invoke violence on these platforms, which a lot of these platforms are not for that kind of thing. It's just something to think about. This particular individual is using live streaming in the worst possible way. And he's making money off of this stuff. I kid you not. So this guy, his name, this is the idiot right here. Okay, his real name is Dalton Etherly. Okay, of course his name is freaking Dalton. But anyway, Dalton, all right, he pulled out a weapon outside of a courthouse, okay, because this particular person, I guess somebody got mad, had enough of him going around to people using hate speech. And he said, so he was like, come at me, bro. So they got into a tussle. He pulled out his weapon. He pulled the trigger on that individual. But while he was pulling the trigger on that guy, he pulled the trigger on himself as well. Actually, I meant. So, a live streamer known for posting controversial videos using slurs is facing multiple charges, including attempted M, after pulling a trigger in front of a courthouse, a Tennessee courthouse, Wednesday, officials said. The shooting happened during a confrontation between Dalton Etherly, he also goes by Chud the Builder online, and another man who authorities have not identified outside of Montgomery County Courthouse in Clarksville. The Tennessee District Attorney General's office said both men were shot. They were both hit because he pulled the trigger on one while he hit himself while pulling the trigger. He shot himself, okay? Just so you know. All right. And taken to nearby hospitals where they were in stable condition as of Wednesday evening. Now, it is unclear how the shooting unfolded or what led up to it. In addition to this attempted M, this idiot, Chud, we just gonna call him Chud, all right, was charged with employing a pew-pew during dangerous felony, aggravated assault, and reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon, the sheriff's office said in a statement. He's been booked into the Montgomery County Jail and will be held until his arraignment. CNN is working to determine, this is from the article we're reading, they're working to determine if Chud has legal representation. So Chud live streamed himself speaking to first responders after the incident, saying, "I had to defend myself by pulling the trigger on him." Of course, I'm using these code words. Okay, let's see this. Hold on.
A live streamer known for
Okay, no. Moving on. He recounted walking past the man who, among others, were laughing and pointing at me, he said. After approaching them, Etherly, Chud, said the unidentified man told him to walk away before coming back to him, saying, "I have PTSD." He said, quote unquote, "You start saying all that chimp out-ish at me." Yeah, he would walk up to somebody and say, "Chimp out." Black people. Real talk. You start saying all that chimp out-ish to me, and I'm going to hit you. And he hit me and started wailing on me. This is what Chud said in the video. The live streamer has several videos online in which he refers to black people as chimps. Yes. It's unfortunate that incidents like this are happening in our community. This is what the Montgomery County Sheriff said in a statement. This kind of violence won't be tolerated, and our office will work to make sure those responsible are held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. So, days earlier on Saturday, he was kicked out of a restaurant and arrested in Nashville the next day on charges of theft of services, disorderly conduct, and resisting arrest, according to an affidavit. He was asked by a restaurant staff not to live stream or be disruptive inside the establishment, but he did so anyway, the affidavit said. So he was out there, he was eating a meal, he was live streaming, he was acting a fool, probably going up to random tables, I don't know, maybe harassing, being a piece of trash. And the restaurant said, "Please be nice, and could you stop live streaming?" And he said, "Hell no." Oh, hell no. And of course, they kicked him out, but he didn't pay his bill. So all that happened. And he resisted arrest. Apparently, cops came up, tried to, arrest him. He kind of snatched he kind of ripped his hands away from the police. That's a resisting arrest, so he got arrested, right? Prosecutors in that case described Chud as a live streamer who, quote unquote, filmed content including racially charged content on social media, the affidavit said. The restaurant staff told him to stop live streaming. Chud became disruptive and started making racial statements, yelling, screaming, and causing a scene. So as soon as they said, "Hey, can you please turn off your camera? Can you kill this feed really quick? Do you mind doing that?" He just starts going hard R. Okay. Chud then allegedly stated, "I'm not paying if you are kicking me out," and then refused to pay for his meal, costing $371.55. Damn! What was he eating? What the hell was he eating? $371.55. What you eating, bro? Are you that hungry? What were you? Where were you? Was he live streaming in some 5-star establishment? Because that doesn't sound like an IHOP. That for damn show don't sound like an Applebee's. A few hours after the incident, officers found Chud walking on the street. When they told him he was under arrest and tried to place handcuffs on him, he pulled his arm away. He was then arrested without further incident. Chud later granted release on $5,000 bond, according to a judge's order. Other videos he has posted online have a history of slurs and at least one instance of using force against a black person. Chud could be seen spraying what appears to be chemical agent or a chemical agent at a black man and calling him the N-word after the man knocked his hat off, according to a video posted on X last week. Chud's conduct, has been met with criticism, including from right-wing personalities like Nick Fuentes of all people. Interesting. A well-known white nationalist and Holocaust denier. Ain't that something? On Fuentes' podcast, he asked a question about Chud, to which he responded that he didn't like, quote unquote, that approach of antagonizing people in public. I think it's wrong. It's unethical. And that's coming out of mother-loving Nick Fuentes' mouth. And that says a lot, because Nick Fuentes is Nick Fuentes. Let me just say that really quick. But here's the thing. I want you guys to see a little bit of who the F this guy is. You want to check it out?
You gonna sneak up behind me like y'all like to do? Look at this nigga chimping out. Look at this nigga chimping out. That's the news team. Y'all know his name now. Isaiah Ware. Pussy ass.
Okay, we're good. That's enough. But you get what I'm saying, okay? That's enough for me. Okay? But this guy's a dumbass. I just want to make this abundantly clear. That guy doesn't deserve to be on any platform anywhere. But here's the thing. This is the sad part about our world. As much as our world is so incredible, there are a lot of great people out here in the world, but there are a lot of bad too. He is being charged with attempted charges. He pulled a weapon out. There's footage of him actually getting in the tussle with this individual outside of the courthouse. People are saying that the way it looks different than it looks like the guy is in danger, not Chud. Okay, so there's a lot of conversation about this. But what's really sad about this, and like I said, I always try to say the glass is half full rather than the glass is half empty. I truly think that we all are beautiful people. We all are beautiful in our own ways. Yes, we may have our differences, but I always try to find something common, right, within all of us. But these kind of things really aggravate me. It's when people like Chud the Builder get the love and get the help that they shouldn't be getting. Let me explain. So as you see, and we've seen this before, where someone says something racist, someone says something absolutely controversial, throws out slurs, doesn't matter. You shouldn't be saying those things in the first place. And then suddenly they're able to raise money because there's a racist underbelly in this world. There really is. This is the reason why you got the likes of this guy, this Dalton Etherly, is able to go out and continue making content and probably doesn't even have a job. This is probably the only thing he does do, which is live stream, because he has people that are supporting him. There is a support base here. This should show to you and to me and to all of us that just because we are looking at this sunshine, daydreams and daffodils and everything's great and everyone's coming together and we're all, coexisting in harmony under one umbrella, unfortunately, there's a dark underbelly of this world where people like the likes of Chud the Builder are able to monetize and make a living off the content that he is making. And what I mean by this is it is dark. It is the underbelly, because a lot of these mother lovers are next door, serving your food, checking your teeth, checking you into hotels. God only knows. Running our country, possibly, right? And you got people out here that are spending money to support the likes of this individual, who clearly has been out here saying incredibly disgusting and disturbing things to people who are innocent bystanders living their life. There's an audience. I just want you guys to see this. We could still believe that the world is amazing, because it is. Life is amazing. The world is amazing. But we also have to remember the realities of this world. And there are some dark, messed up individuals out here in this world that would rather see someone that looks like me rot, be made fun of, be chastised, possibly be even killed, just because of who I am and the color of my skin. Now, I'm not going to go on some sort of soapbox, Plymouth Rock landed on that. I'm not about to do that. I ain't trying to do that. But I also want us to know and recognize that there is evil in this world. There is darkness in this world. This guy should not be supported. Just in my personal opinion. Sure, he can go live stream all he wants. If there's a platform that allows him to stream, and clearly there's an audience for this. But all he's doing is motivating violence, motivating division. And one thing I think is really amazing about this chat, this family chat right here, is that is all people of all races, all colors, all sexual orientation, all religion, all in one room, talking together. We may not agree on a lot of things, but we agree that we are all here on God's earth to coexist and to be kind and good to each other, not dropping donations to support the likes of this type of evil. It's interesting because, as much as we think that we have progressed, there are moments that remind us that we still have a whole lot to go. We have a whole big journey still left ahead of us. And all we can do is slow walk them towards the light, towards positivity. But let's take a look at this. So Chud the Builder has already raised over, I think, 6 figures now. Because guess what? He went to the infamous Give, Send, Go and raised a whole bunch of money. Why? Because there are people out here that will sit there and go, how dare that black man say this, that, and the third? This white boy deserves you see what I'm saying? And then here comes the division, right? Here comes the mother-loving division. We've already seen that in other cases. Remember the girl? Do you remember the girl that called the little boy some racist, some slurs on the playground, and then she raised over $1 million because she called the kid the N-word, and she was caught on film saying that? Remember that division that happened there? Remember that crap? What about the kid? There was another one. I'm trying to remember, but there were other ones where they went to Give, Send, Go, and they were able to raise money because they could. Again, this man has an audience. Just want to make that abundantly clear. He has an audience. JLK, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Appreciate you, man. Amen, Pascal. I'll donate to you any day, my brother. Thank you for your positivity and love. I appreciate that. Thank you, JLK. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate that. Okay? Like I said, we got to slow walk. We got to slow walk some people sometimes towards the positivity, towards the righteousness, right? Towards righteous. We got to work. It's a slow walk. But slowly but surely, people, they eventually, not all of them, but a good portion of them see the light. And I don't mean that in some Bible thumping religious type of way. Just sometimes it takes people time to see the good in people, in other people, right? Just takes time. All we can do is slow walk them towards the light. So Chud the Builder's Give, Send, Go fundraising page shot up to more than $90,000 in donations in less than 24 hours after he was involved in a pew-pewing, then charged with attempted M. You can see the Give, Send, Go page is nearing its $100,000 goal. $100,000. And TMZ can reveal more than $18,000 of donations poured in just Thursday morning alone. The donations range from $5 to as much as $2,000, with people wishing the streamer well. You see what I mean by damn? The world is amazing, but damn, do we have a dark world underneath us. It's small, but you can still raise $1 million off of this negativity. Dude goes around and calls people the N-word and says, quit chimping out, etc. to black people. And he just raised $100,000 because of something that he put himself in. You understand? This is the bed that he made. Do you understand? This is the F around and find out situation that we heard from Pete Hegseth. We gonna F around and find out. He put himself in that bed. He might as well lie in it. But guess what? He's able to raise over 100, probably past $100,000 by now. Ain't that crazy? Not like a man that you put yourself in that situation, son. That's on you. Good luck, baby. Nope. People going out of their way to spend monies. Here's the other thing too. If people weren't watching his live streams, he wouldn't be doing it no more. But guess what? They is. Crazy, right? Crazy. Notably, the Give, Send, Go page was set up by Chud himself. Interesting. He didn't ask for any help. He didn't ask somebody else to do it for him. He did it himself. He did it well before this actual shooting actually went down. Wait, that's a little weird, don't you think? Huh? He set that up well before the actual incident. Wow. He had asked fans for donations to help support his family after he was fired from his job for using racial slurs. I mean, come on. Even his job is like, we can't have you here anymore, sir. Because you're walking around saying things that shouldn't be said to people of color. And your face is all over it. They're going to be starting to come over to our business. We can't do that. We can't represent you. Because you're going to be bringing problems and trouble to our front door, sir. So you got to go. They described Chud as edgy, harmless, or he described his demeanor, his banter as edgy, harmless humor. Let me tell you something seriously wrong with this man in his head. This is not somebody who's right in the head. I'm sorry. This is not somebody who's right in the head. He noted his small business was also under attack by people spreading lies and even threatening his life over his past behavior. Hey, how about this? Stop going on lives, walking around the streets of Nashville and calling people the N-word. That's a start. How about just turn off the cameras and stop doing that? He stood up for his freedom of speech in his message to fans. Don't get me wrong. He's allowed to say whatever the hell he wants. Freedom of speech indeed. But you're going up to people and trying to start things. That's a different conversation. That's a completely different conversation here, y'all. But let's move on. It is unclear how much money was in the fund before he was involved in the altercation Wednesday. We told you all about the incident. The controversial creator got into a heated scuffle outside the courthouse in Tennessee, and shots were actually fired. Okay, so he and the other involved person, unidentified man, sustained non-life-threatening injuries in the shooting. He proclaimed that he fired shots in self-defense, but police weren't buying his story and took him into custody. He was charged with M, employing a firearm during a dangerous felony, aggravated A, and reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon. And this guy is about to hit probably $100,000 because he's racist. And that's why he lost his job in the first doggone place, because he doesn't know his place. He can't read the room. And he's so hell-bent on using his freedom of speech that he about to go poor. Well, not anymore. I mean, he's raising over $100,000, but clearly he's going to need to use that on legal fees and whatnot. But you got yes, Mel, you got a full-fledged bigot running around out here in these streets. And yeah, the audacity. Let me just show you this. The audacity of the guy having a picture of his kid, which clearly he's using that. Okay, he's using that to try to tug at the heartstrings of the people who are willing to support him. And now you got people who are they're dropping money as high as $2,000 for this guy. But let me use my kid real quick. Can't you see I'm a dad? Really? So that's how you do it. Wild. $100,000, babies. 100,000 mother-loving dollars. Like I said, because of something that he created, because of a problem that he started. Can you imagine if it like these drug dealers that are out here, they suddenly get in trouble. Trouble comes to their front door, right? They're notoriously known for pushing weight, for moving weight, right? And they put up a GoFundMe. Do you think that they would have people supporting them? You think a dealer would be able to raise as much money as $100,000? Yo, I got these kids. I got these legal issues, bruh. I can't sling no dope no more. So I need this money. I need this bread, son. Like, real talk, do you really think a photo with him just with the kids? Help me feed my family. Do you really think it's going to work? Because you want to know something? No, it's not. It's not going to work. Why? Because that's the bed that he made. That's the bed that he made. All the troubles and all the bad things that are coming, that are knocking at his front door, he did it himself. Same situation with this guy. But he gonna throw his little kid in the photo. I'm a dad too. So why don't you spend your nights with your kid and showing him how raising your kid, showing them a father and what a father does, rather than strolling out here in these streets trying to gallivant like a scallywag, trying to throw out racial slurs live streaming. Because that's not the best representation of a father. I'm sorry, bars. Just saying, wouldn't your son or daughter want to see you at home? Rather than going out to the streets, downtown Nashville and spending your time running around, talking ish to your kids, or to random people. It's sad, y'all. It's sad. And now he's raised over $100,000. This is the wild world that we live in. Because there's people out there, there's enough people out here that believe he deserves that money. All because he's live streaming and throwing out slurs. You can't make it up, fam. You really can't make it up. But what say you guys on that? That's insane. That's insane if you ask me. I believe in freedom of speech all day long. Trust, I do. This is a little different. This one is a little bit different. But let me know what your thoughts are, okay? Again, guys, before we wrap up the show, please, if you can, okay, please share the skit if you can. I'm trying to get it to like 5,000 views. Real talk, I'm trying to get to 5 just to see how it do, right? So if you share it and people take a look at it, I'm hoping we can do more, right? So if you enjoy the skits, you enjoy the laughter, because we do a lot of laughing on this show. We do. But, you know, I'm trying to bring some more skits into the show. Okay. Not all of them are going to be true crime centric, but, you know, I just want to bring in some laughter, you know, have a little bit more fun. We need more reasons to laugh nowadays. Okay. Kyla, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Your skit was gold. Thank you. I appreciate it. But please share. Okay. No, we didn't do Hantavirus. I forgot to do that. Hold on. Let us take a look at Hantavirus real quick, okay? One second. Here we go.
The state's health department.
Here we go. This is what I was going to show y'all. And this is crazy.
And we have breaking news. Kansas officials say they're monitoring three people for Hantavirus. The state's health department says those three have been taken to the University of Kansas hospital after possible exposure to the virus abroad. Meanwhile, the only American cruise ship passenger to test positive for Hantavirus has been cleared to leave isolation. ABC's Andrew Dimbert's here with more on all of that. So, Andrew, where do these things stand on the outbreak in the U.S. right now?
Yeah, so, the total number of confirmed cases, according to health officials, is still so low here. They say 10 confirmed cases linked to that cruise ship, and the death toll is still confirmed at 2.
And that's globally.
That's globally. And there's some other promising developments here as well. As you mentioned, that American doctor who initially tested positive is now not only out of isolation, but he's also tested negative. So we're not seeing sort of a widespread outbreak in terms of total numbers, but health officials worldwide stress the risk to the public is still extremely low. But now we've got 3 people in Kansas that are being monitored. In Illinois, the Department of Health is investigating a potential case that's not connected to that cruise ship.
So you got another person somewhere else that contracted the Hantavirus that was not part of the cruise ship at all. So it could be a completely separate incident. They could have just, maybe, I don't know, maybe they went to maybe they did the same thing. They went to I don't know, maybe they were looking at a dumpster with a whole bunch of birds flying around. I don't know. You see what I'm saying? But there are people that are getting sick that were not connected or were not on that actual cruise ship, just so y'all know. So again, what the heck is going on here, right?
That's concerning, but even then, this person is said to be experiencing minor symptoms, mild symptoms, and did not require hospitalization. In Minnesota, a person's being monitored as well after being potentially exposed to Hantavirus. And in Seattle, 2 people are being monitored, though unclear if they even have the virus. And then, of course, there are those American passengers from that cruise outbreak. They've been moved to that quarantine facility in Nebraska. They're undergoing testing and being watched closely. So on the one hand, the virus is potentially touching several states here, but on the other, we're talking about 1 to 2, 3 cases, so not a lot of people and a whole lot of maybes, which is why health authorities say there's no cause for alarm. But given the seriousness of this virus, they're not taking any chances in following all the proper protocol.
I mean, isn't it like 50-50? The mortality rate is like 50-50, I think. Like, it's serious. Yeah, that Ratatouille, that Mickey Mouse, that 5-0 goes west, okay? I'm just saying, remember 5-0 goes west? Somewhere out there, Beneath the pale moonlight. Remember that? Remember that crap? 5 goes west. Stuart, that's Stuart Little. Okay. You knew that Disney had a banger when they put black voices on the remake of the song. You know what I mean? Somewhere out there. You know what I'm saying? Nobody ever noticed that? It was like, oh, they gonna make this is a banger because they got Luther Vandross on it. So you know for a fact they're trying to sell the song. You know what I'm saying? I know that wasn't Luther Vandross on that song, but you get what I'm saying. All right. Haven't you noticed that? Anybody else? Okay. Maybe it's just me. Okay. But moving on. People are still getting sick, y'all.
There.
And Andrew, hantavirus can be deadly, but it's also extremely rare. So what's the advice for the average person looking at this and feeling worried?
Yeah, so hantavirus is, really serious when it comes to illness and death here. It has a high rate of death, but it usually doesn't spread so easily from human to human. It's typically transmitted via rodents, rats, mice, and then exposure to their urine, feces, or saliva. Although, health authorities say it can also maybe spread through a bite or a scratch, but even that's extremely rare, though this Andes strain, the one from that cruise ship, has historically shown to transmit through people. And why health authorities are taking this so seriously is because there's no known specific treatment or vaccine that protects against it, which is why health authorities are taking all these proper precautions. And unlike COVID, though, this is not something they say that the average American needs to be on the lookout for in their everyday lives here. About the best thing you can do, they say, is if you find mice or rats around the home, it's important now more than ever to clean up after them and call an exterminator.
Yeah, kick them out the dough, kick them the F out the dough, and sanitize. So again, if you see them out, run. First off, run. Okay. No need to just try to clean them up or nothing. Just run. Sell the house. Just get rid of everything and just leave everything behind. Torch that entire house. Just light that ish on fire. I'm kidding. Don't do that. Please don't do that. It's a joke. Okay? But seriously, just be safe. Because, yeah. Now we got to be scared of mice. Now we got to be scared of mice and rodents. You know what I'm saying? You realize how crazy that is, right? And all they're trying to do is eat and procreate. They just want to eat and bang. You know what I'm saying? I mean, honestly, I don't know what rats and mice do for the ecosystem. You feel me? I don't know what they do for the ecosystem, but they still here, and all they want to do is eat and procreate. They didn't do nothing. How did they get the virus? They didn't know. It's not like they have prophylactics for mice who are just running out here just being little hoes. I'm just saying. All they want to do is eat and bang. That's it. Let them live their lives. But just, stay away from them now. Now we got to be scared. We got to be scared of Mickey Mouse and Ratatouille and Stuart Little and 5. Now we got to look at them sideways now. Do you realize how crazy that is? It's already creepy and, shocking when you see a mouse. You know what I'm saying? You're like, whoa, there's a mouse. You know what I mean? It's still shocking, but now you got to be like, full on hazmat suit, Lysol spray, gloves. I mean, real talk. I feel bad for the mice. I feel bad for the mice. All they want to do is eat and bang. That's what they're there for. I don't know what they do for the ecosystem. I really don't. I know there's probably somewhere, a David Attenborough narrated National Geographic explaining the ecosystem and how important rats and mice are, okay? As you see, the brown mouse, the simple little brown mouse, house brown mouse, helps with the ecosystem. I don't know, okay? But I do know that they want to do the same things that we want to do. Okay? We need sustenance and we need to procreate. That's what we are here for. Okay? That's why we have generations and generations and generations of human beings, just like every other ant to every other kangaroo, cockatoo. We are all here to do the same thing, which is procreate, survive, and procreate. That is it. Okay? Yeah, we're humans, so we pay our taxes and stuff. Yeah. But you get what I'm saying. I feel bad. I feel bad for the mice. Now everybody's like, all y'all not even watching, you're letting your kids watch Mickey Mouse no more. Like none of y'all are. You're like, you gonna get it through osmosis. Okay, baby. You ain't watching this. You gonna get that Hanta through osmosis, baby. No, you gonna get it through the eyeballs. All right? No. We watching Coco Melon. You know? Yeah, Mickey is a dirty, dirty mouse. Let me just tell you. Minnie is even worse. Mickey and Minnie are like, they doing their own freak offs. You feel me? Okay? They're doing their own freak offs. Whole lot of baby oil. Okay? Or actually, in their case, it's just it's just butter. And easy cheese. Something's wrong with me. Okay, guys. You know? I mean, we've been learning some things lately. Okay, some of these people are dark, and make you very popular. And for some odd reason, now we're starting to learn that he likes seeing. He loves to see Minnie perform. If you get what I'm saying, just saying. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe she's patient zero within the mouse community. And then that one's like, yo, man, I was up all night, bro. Literally up all night. You feel me? Okay. And all he did was he just kept plying me with I don't even understand. I didn't even know it was a thing, but catnip? Have you ever tried this thing? Catnip? I mean, it keeps you going, bruh. I didn't know it was gonna do that, man. And then he just kept on plying me with brie. I ain't never had brie in my life. That shit is delicious, man. Damn. You ain't never had no brie? No, we ain't talking about American cheese. We talking about brie, son. None of y'all? You ain't never had none of that brie? Okay. I'm just saying. And then he just kept on throwing me in there. With Minnie, just throwing me in there. You know? Just saying, you got it. And just slapping me on the tail. I don't know, man. Catnip and brie. Now I itch a lot. I don't know what's going on, man. Damn. Is it normal to hurt when you pee? Anybody? Could that be the brie? Was that the brie? Maybe it was the catnip. No? Okay. I need to go see a doctor? Okay, I need to see a doctor. I need to go see my vet. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Okay. I'm done. Man, he would give me that good cheese, man, that brie. It was so good. Cheese. Okay, moving on. That is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure before you head out, Hit that like button down below. Crush the do it to do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, make sure you hit that follow button. Follow. Okay? Hit that subscribe button here on my YouTube channel, right here on the main channel. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there. Hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random. Please and thank you. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Share that skit, that D4vd skit. Please and thank you. That would really mean the world to me. Okay, it's a simple ask. Check out that Patreon if you want to support even further. And of course, check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there, so go check it out. PascalMerch.com. Anyway, guys, it's time to get going. Much love to you guys. Be safe out there. And we'll be talking here very soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.